It's almost showtime, y'all. Go get them likes up. Get them likes up.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got. Hello, motherfucker. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Bruh.
Yeah, it's about that time, y'all. Y'all ready, family? It's gonna be a great show tonight. Y'all caught a glimpse, man. Welcome to the Lapeef Network. We got the Kay and Kayla show that's about to be ready to start. But before we do, I got to plug it, man. April 23rd, we are going to be live in Houston. This is our first show, our first live show. Make sure you guys click that link. It's at the top of the chat right there. And you guys can go ahead and become a part of history. Shout out to the sponsor, Tej Hanley. Shout out to Tej Hanley. That link is in the description as well. You get a 30% off and a free gift. We got something new for February. So make sure you guys click that link that's in the description, man. Let's have fun, man. With all due, let me go ahead and bring up the crew. I'm going to drop out.
Hey, y'all.
Hey.
Peace.
Welcome. How y'all doing?
Hey, what's up, ladies?
We're so
Good.
excited
How are y'all
here.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having us.
Thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you guys. We appreciate y'all for, sharing y'all evening with us.
Absolutely.
So, I guess introducing, we have Mr. Doc Love. We have M Dubs here. We have B Self-Absorbed. And we have the Clark Jones with us tonight on the Kay and Kayla show.
Yes, they all have something in common that's very, very important and relevant in terms of our topic. These are all very, very funny comedians. They're all comics.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be a fun show, and y'all will offer a really great perspective. Can't wait to get into it.
For sure. So tonight we're going to be talking about, as you all have, I'm sure, seen from the headline, we're going to be talking about censorship. So, this is the conversation, right? We're going to have it, right? But I do want to go around and just get everyone's general personal thoughts about censorship in the media. So let's go ahead and start with Mr. B Self-Absorbed.
My opinion is that, if your art has to be censored and it can still remain to hold its integrity, then censor it. If it's if it's going to get you the job. I'm not against censoring stuff. If I'm against my message not getting across. So if censoring makes my message not getting across, if I could go around a word or two to still get my message across, that's the most important to me, to get my message across. So.
Okay. So when we just look up the general definition of censorship, the general definition is the suppression or prohibition of any parts of book, film, news that are considered book, film, news, etc., that are considered obscene, politically unacceptable, or a threat to security. Now, well, I'm just going to save my thoughts. Let's go on to Mr. The Clark Jones. How you doing?
Hey, what's happening?
What's up?
V. Clark Jones. Yeah.
V. I stand corrected.
V. Two E's. It's all good. It's all pleasurable. I think we've gotten a little like loose with freedom of speech and censorship. First of all, thank you for reading the definition, because don't nobody read definitions no more. And censorship it lets me know who's familiar with private property and who not, because we have this outcry over censorship over people's property. Like, it's somebody who owned Viacom, it's somebody who owned all these things, and you feel like, oh, I'm supposed to be able to say whatever I want to say. Well, let me come over your house and do whatever I want to do. Or you trying to, this freedom of speech. But freedom of speech just means you won't go to jail. Censorship is in jailing or putting people behind bars because of something they said. Yeah, you got fired from SNL, you got fired from whatever TV show, that's privately owned. So I just think people need to understand you can't do whatever you want to do on somebody else's property or a television show. If you don't like the rules, you ain't got to work there. I'll take your job. And that's all I got to say about that.
All right. Thank you, the Clark Jones. Okay. So what's up, M Dubs? How are you feeling? What do you think about the topic tonight? Thoughts on censorship in the media? Just your general personal thoughts.
As a comedian, I feel it's your job to be able to say what you need to say and say it creatively, do it smart and intelligent. I can still talk about things in ways and still get that point across. I don't get upset about censorship. I can still, like I said, creatively, I can still pretty much say what I want to. It's just how you say it, I think the world is softer now, so you kind of got to watch what you say. It's crazy, but you should be able to adapt, and roll with the punches. It's just my opinion.
Okay, nice. So we have Mr. Doc Love. What do you think?
All right. So I guess in a nutshell, I'm not for censorship. So I guess I'm kind of against the grain. I think it has a place, but when it comes to certain things, not so much. So I'm kind of totally anti-censorship. I think there's a time and a place. You can say what you want to say, but no, fuck that. Because at the end of the day, it's an art form. And it's an art form, and art, I think, needs to be raw, natural, and uncensored. Now, that's not saying that there's no backlash on what you put out there artistically. That still exists. But do I feel like censorship has a place? It's not so much. I feel like I lean more towards the artistic integrity, and I think you start to lose that sometimes when you do trying to tiptoe around, and you kind of do lose a little bit of that sting or that punch, you know what I mean? Or just your natural freedom of the art itself by trying to conform. Like Clark said, if you're on Viacom, you got to act a certain way. Certain stuff you can't say on ESPN. We know that now. So do I think it's a place for it? Yeah, as a business model, yes. But as an artist, not so much.
You're on mute, Kayla.
Okay, so for business, yes, but for art, no. And that is one thing that I can agree with. When art is subjective. So that's the main question that kind of came up from here is who decides what's obscene? Who decides what's politically correct? You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we understand in this country who decides, right? But when we're speaking about censorship and all the different communities that are within this country, because this country has so many different people here, then it says, does that definition of obscene, is that our definition of obscene? Is that definition of politically correct this community's definition of politically correct? So that just kind of takes me into, when we speak about I want to kind of talk on the children aspect first before we get into the entertainment part. Right now, when it comes to the children's aspect in terms of censorship, I genuinely see how censorship has changed over the last decade. When I was a kid, some of the words that you can say on television, some of the things that you can do was just not allowed. It wasn't tolerated. That was not a thing. It was a little like, sneaking into the movies was a thing. Like, because I was not old enough to see this movie. You know what I'm saying? So now, I mean, I don't think I've seen them check IDs at a movie ever. I don't think so. No. I mean, that's kind of crazy. But Kay, what do you think generally, and then when we get to, the children aspect, and then we'll go around about that when it comes to violence, sex, like how censorship has changed for, general television, which adolescent, viewership.
So I kind of like what Doc said, because I like what everyone said. So you want to keep your job, right? You want to be able to get hired places, of course. Like, I don't think a lot of people are willing to say, you know what? I'm going to say, forget this $1 million deal because I just have to say this. Like, people are just, censor it and get your money. So I understand that aspect.
Right.
But I do understand what Doc said as well in terms of like the artistic aspect. Sometimes some of the artistic integrity can be lost depending what you're doing if you are censoring. So there's like a really thin line. How can you still push it, like push the envelope and be, thought-provoking or provocative or whatever with your artistry?
Can I add to my answer? Can I add? I'm sorry, I didn't mean that, bro. I'll let you finish.
Yeah, no, you can. Real quick though, like I just think there's a thin line between those things. So yeah, D. Clark, we absolutely want to hear what you have to say about this.
We need that love answer made me feel like we need more censorship, because people need to censor themselves. It's too much freedom. It's too much freedom to say whatever you want to on Instagram and all this other stuff. People be going on live trying to expose somebody else and be confessing the crimes. What is up? What's to y'all?
If they decide to incriminate themselves, like who is it to what is it to me? Okay.
That's what I'm saying for the better of good.
I can't help they're not smart. What does that got to do with me? But you're not gonna take away my right to Instagram because somebody else is lacking intelligence.
Oh no. I'm saying from a personal accountability standpoint, people need more censorship in their life in general. I ain't saying the government should censorship. I'm saying people need to take it upon themselves and censor themselves and take a week off from going live.
So people should just have that control over themselves to say things in a more diplomatic type of way, basically.
People won't even take a thing that's saving life. They definitely not gonna not take an opportunity to get that rush of 3 people logging on to their live. So I just don't trust people. Maybe that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, some people do try to say certain things just to get, that negative even attention. I think
of course, because we know that any PR is good PR. And as crazy as that sounds, it's been proven that over and over again. I mean, i.e., my fave, Kim KW.
Yeah, but I don't think y'all.
It's all about how you position yourself, and it's all about the relationships you make. Remember, this is America, nepotism. Y'all need to stop acting like this hard work thing is, if I work hard enough, like, bro, you need connections. Let's stop acting like this is in America. Like, that is what it is. But just speaking on, does anyone else have anything to add in terms of the children aspect, in terms of what kids can see, just like on general live television now, versus when we were kids? We're all 20, 25 at least, 30.
Well, I remember when you think censorship, right? My first, you think they didn't want Elvis to do his pelvic thrust. Little Richard. I mean, they've been censoring from forever. Like, you know, censoring's been going on a long, long time. So I came up in the 80s. So my first experience with censoring was when they start smacking those parental advisory joints on your tapes. And, you know, if your parents was like, oh, I can't copy that because they got the parental or whatever, you know. But I think that started in like 88, you know, the parental advisory. Because before that, it was just parents didn't know what they were buying their kids. You would buy your kids a Too Short album and didn't know you were buying your kid a Too Short album because there was no parental warning or
label,
you know, censorship. Oh. So it's just censorships are sometimes put it to save us from ourselves.
Y'all can't do this in the back chat and then be laughing all show. Y'all gotta just say what it is on the show. Okay? They are clowning self-absorbed in the back chat.
All this comedy in the back chat.
Talking about how Elvis. No. Came up here talking about Elvis.
This nigga said, what y'all talking
about? No, they're not trying to censor Elvis pelvic thrust.
People go.
They didn't look it up. You might even got locked up for doing it.
No,
my nigga went straight to
Self is so serious.
Elvis.
It's been a lot of examples in between Elvis.
Well, that's probably.
Well, I'll say this. Let me say this.
American censorship.
Let me say this to try to bring it back to the censorship about the kids. That shit's dead. Ain't no censorship no more. You trying to censor your kid right now and try to block them from seeing something is only, in my opinion, is only going to set them up for a false reality. We grew up in a different time. That shit's over. We had to sneak. We had to sneak to learn.
You just throw them out there and say, here go sex, here go anal, here go the mouth, here go this. What do you do?
Like, no. I'm not saying you throw them out there, but what I'm saying is that you have to prepare them for it, because the reality is they're gonna walk right into it.
They're gonna walk right into it, Doc.
I understand what Doc is saying, because you can teach your kids, right? And they playing video games on the internet and they're learning. Like my son learned about Pornhub off of playing online because some kids was on like their headsets and they was talking about Pornhub. And we monitor everything this dude do, but the things we let him do, they still doing the shit we monitor him from. It's like, how you can't do it. It's crazy.
So like
you ain't gonna stop no 14-year-old boy from finding no naked women on
14 is totally different. He's talking about situations like when my ex's son was looking at porn on a friend's phone on the bus at 7 years old.
Wow.
You gotta take their phones.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. That shit's dead. Trying to stop your kid from the flow of access to information that's like trying to fucking play a cassette tape right now. That shit is over. You see what I'm saying? The only thing you can do right now
is like you said, it's just in the air. It's in the air.
House. That's what you can do.
So Doc,
seeing it's in the air, Doc. That's what you're saying. It's just everywhere.
Hold on, Michelle. So Doc, in terms of what you just said, because you're right, like there's so much access that kids have, and Kayla brought up an example of a friend's phone or at school or anything like that. So we know that access is there. Like B Self was just saying, like you're not going to stop people from seeing or trying to see certain things with this level of access. So outside of that, would you say that media companies, just during daytime television and whatnot, have a duty to censor certain things, such as certain amounts of violence or certain language or certain types of scenes, as a social, I guess, responsibility of their company?
Only during the daytime.
Right.
Like TV can't raise your kids. It raised me, but you can't rely on that.
That's again.
You're not responsible for that.
That is a false. That is what I'm saying. That is an old narrative. In the 80s and 90s, you can say that. TV definitely raising your kids. The
TV
social
raised
media,
me, but I'm decent though.
I'm
My
No,
mother
the
balanced
thing
the
about
TV.
it is
Big
Doc,
time
now the effort to take care of your child is just more than it used to be then because of the censorship. But if you actually raise your child, like both of my brothers was homeschooled. The only reason I wasn't is because I got into a ballet program where it's like an arts high school, but we was homeschooled.
flex.
So if you stay at home, but someone has to be there to do that. So in terms of black people having the resources to do that, I get where you're coming from, but let's not say like it can't be done.
No, what I'm saying is, I'm using an example, like you just said, how you and your brothers were. Even that was some time ago. You see what I'm saying? Not long ago, because I'm sure you look so young. But what I'm saying is that you say, yeah, it's nowadays, like, you know, and I have a son. I've raised, you know, my son 18 now, you know, but the thing is, now you have to be realistic. My son came to me at 10 years old and said, "Daddy, what's teabagging?"
You told him the truth.
You know what I mean? And at that moment, I had to make a decision. Do I tiptoe around it and tell him that he don't need to know about this, or you just be honest with him? I was cold as honest. Bang. You know what? And then the two things happen from that. One, he knows that I'm going to tell him the truth, and two, he don't have to walk around with the blinders on. That's a small example.
Time out. Would the truth be, son, you too young to know about teabagging?
No, because he already know about it. He asking a question about it.
How old was he?
10.
Nah, 10.
That's old enough.
10.
I mean, it's too
10
young
is
for me to
like
bring it
he
up.
wants to go to 6th grade. Like
what I'm saying, it's too young for me to bring it up. Too young for me to put it in front of your face.
If he brought it up to you,
exactly.
So you would say, son, you would say to son, like, look, son, I know you want to know about a lot of these
11
things.
And 12, 13.
Say, son, I know you want to know about a lot of these things in life, but now is not the time. There will come a time you are ready to know this.
All you just told him to do is go ask somebody else.
Did that work on you, Self? Did that work on you?
That's phony, G.
Did that work on you?
No.
No. It is.
Listen, when I was in 6th grade, it was 2 girls pregnant. And if your son can ask you about teabagging in 6th, it's like you behind, bro. That's the least of your problems. Teabagging.
They got a song called "Throat Baby." Stop playing.
Yeah. Well, I started in like 7th grade.
You know what?
It's a jingle.
It really depends on, you know, how you raising your babies. I remember being in the car with one of my daughters, and she says, and I had some R. Kelly bumping, and she says, "Can you turn this off? This is inappropriate." And she's probably like, she was like, you know, a shorty, you know. So
salute to her.
I think it really depends on like what you putting in them. Like they might not even, you know, want to gravitate towards that. I just think you got to grab your babies from day one and never let them go, and protect them against a lot of that stuff that's out there. You got to really try to protect your babies against a lot of this.
Separation is key, man.
Hey,
and keep them kids and keep them innocent, and so as long as you can, man. Even though the world says we full of poison and throw them poison, no. I personally believe I will protect my babies' innocent and they mind for as long as I can and let them develop. I don't want them just giving them things early that they mind can't even handle yet, even if I personally break it down to them. If I find they somewhere they are getting exposed to them, I'm gonna find out where they're getting that, and I'm gonna move them from that environment.
Be self. Was that ride before the documentaries or after?
That was me being a young father, and that was before the documentaries. That was before the documentaries, and it's just me being a young father, and them just being in a new world that's more, feminine, female, have more consciousness, and they look feminist and shit. So they just, what I'm saying, early on, being exposed to that kind of stuff. So they they was on it early, no, we don't like him. You know what I mean?
Early?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the wave now. That's the wave now. But
I just believe that each child is different. You can gauge if you're actually an active parent that lives with your child, you can gauge where your child is and what they're able to handle by interacting with them on a daily basis. So you do what each child, parenthood, or at least this is what my mother told me and preparing me to be a parent, is that you have to parent each child differently. So you know, your son may
But
ask
apply
that.
that to the,
That's right.
You know?
but look at that to a generational situation, though. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
We're in a different way. It was a point in time where you could walk around and be like, well, as long as you raise your kids right, then you ain't got nothing to worry about. That shit is not necessarily the truth no more. I gotta raise my kids right, but the rest of everybody else, when you look at a kid right now, the first thing you do when the parents sit down, they put that kid on what? Phone, laptop, tablet. This is who's raising your child most of the time. You see what I'm saying? So I think it would be, I don't know. I think obviously we still have the responsibility, but I think it would be naive to not look at how much social impact goes into raising your kids nowadays. And you can't stop that floodgate. That's what I'm saying.
So
why I
if
think
we know,
is key.
If we know that there is so much access, and this is back to that question I was asking earlier, we kind of got away from it. Do you think that these major media companies have a duty, since there is so much access that kids can see anything, anytime, anywhere? Do you think they have a duty to censor things to help, I guess, with some of the impact that certain things might have? What do you all think about that? Doc, you first, because you were the one who said whatever inspired me to ask that question.
I'm a hard no.
To the answer, do they have a should it be on them, the companies, to censor that? No, they're a company. Their only job is to make money. That's their job. Our job is to force them and force them to be responsible about how they do it. So they're going to continue to push the limit because that's what they do.
So when you say force them to be responsible, what do you mean exactly? I just want to clarify.
Well, like people do nowadays. You know, they boycott, they make a fuss about. It's different tactics depending on what you're trying to do.
So then they could like be proactive and just censor the stuff instead of having a boycott, right? Instead of people.
I mean, it's lots of things. There's tons of steps you can take. But my point is that the company themselves, I think we need to accept the fact that the company themselves are not people sitting around with feelings and emotions. They are a company, it's a machine, it's a business here to crank out and get paid. That's their job is. Our job is to censor that, if you will. You see what I'm saying?
Into what we receive in our lives.
Because if you let them do it, they'll shit. You see where we at now?
There are guidelines though for like daytime television, for radio. There are specific like general guidelines, but again, I don't know who makes those. I don't.
Yeah, but those like you just said, those rules have bent over the years.
They have.
Remember that?
Yeah, like you can never say shit or damn or any of that on television, and now it's just like you could just say everything but the F word.
The slickest shit. Do y'all peep that?
Who?
SpongeBob and Patrick, they be saying the slickest shit. I don't know if y'all be peeping that.
They do.
Watch it.
I mean,
yeah. But that's always been there.
Fred and Wilma didn't even sleep in the same bed. Neither did the honeymooners. You couldn't even sleep in the same bed on TV back in the day. You had to have.
Now you get your whole titty sucked on Netflix.
Now
they had segregation back then, so that time was better.
That's different though. When we're talking about general TV that just plays on cable and like a service that you have to pay for and you have to agree to the terms and blah whatever. So that's a little bit different. But that's also why I want to talk about the different mediums, just because I work in media and I do media placement, I do marketing, and just talking about the different mediums, like I said, from television to online, which is what Netflix would be, to radio, to the internet, just in general, like social media. So there's so many different censorship guidelines across that. There's like a board for each, but then when you're on a proprietary program like Facebook, they get to make the rules on what the censorship is. Versus a company that may be like government regulated, like the people who regulate broadcasting and things like outdoor media as well. It's regulated by government. It's regulated by the government. Yeah, so
I'm speaking to somebody who don't have kids, right? But the different generation now allows less room for parents to be as hypocritical as they used to be. In that it used to be you could say don't do that or don't do as I do as I say, right? But it's too much information. And adults today, parents today, they realize how much they don't know because they want to know about all the things that they kids looking up. Like they asking their kid, "Hey, what's Pornhub? But show me, put it on my phone, but don't you look at it." Like you can't do that no more. Like that ain't gonna work. Or just like little different things that they want to know about because we all getting information from the same portal. We all on the same apps. We all on the same sites. So kids are teaching their parents about things that they're not, they got to work 8 hours a day. Kids got all day to fuck around though. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it may not be right, but today's times is calling for more parenting. You have to be more active. Like you said, kids gonna find out regardless. So you got to know about that stuff and be ready to have a conversation about it.
For
Like,
sure.
yes, you kids, TV and media is raising kids, but you got to jump in there too. Like, you got to be a tag team. You can't just sit them with a phone for 12 hours and then be like, I don't know why they acting like this. It's
Damn,
calling for
Clark, are
higher
you lagging or is it
responsibility.
me?
He's a teacher. Clark, don't you substitute or something? Damn, you educated.
He's
Oh,
lagging a
maybe-
little bit.
This
Am I
is
lagging?
this.
Am I lagging?
I hang around kids still a lot. Can you hear me? Am I lagging?
A little
You
bit.
A
lagging.
little bit.
It's a little
My
behind.
internet.
I don't
I'm right
know
next.
why.
I'm right next to the box. I gotta delete some of these pages from my Safari.
M
You're
Dubs,
right. I'm doing it right now.
M Dubs, you looked like you wanted to say something while Doc was talking about the whole these companies shouldn't necessarily have to censor certain things. What are your thoughts on that?
I think they do. I think I think it's not solely on the companies. I agree with Doc. We can't leave it up to them. No, but I do believe because they put in the content and they do approve of the content, they can't help out by censoring some things. You know what I'm saying? It should be a tag team. It should be they have their guidelines and all the things that they do, and then the parents doing what they need to do. I just don't think it's like one-sided. I think everybody needs, especially when it comes to these kids and what they can see. And, when it comes to that, it needs to be some shit because it's too much out here. They have too much access with everything. And everybody has to help each other. Companies just can't sit back and say, well, we're supposed to make money. No, nigga, y'all, you kind of owe us too because y'all making money from us and spend some of them dollars to, create things that my son won't just scroll on something, shit just popping up. Spend the money to protect that, So it kind of go both ways in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I get that.
But can I say this though? But
Yeah,
I just
go
want to be clear about this. Y'all do realize that they job in there and what their response that they're not going to do that. You see what I'm saying? Like thinking for us to wish that they will regulate themselves freely, but name how many companies regulate themselves without being forced to regulate themselves. Does not even exist.
Absolutely.
There's not even a thing that happens nowadays.
Everybody's
You know what I
going to
mean?
do what benefits them. If it's, leaving something in there benefits what I'm doing, then leave it in there. If taking it out benefits what I got going on, take it out.
That's what I'm saying.
So
You
it's
gotta
all
force
about
it.
what benefits, the particular party at interest that's financing the whole thing. It really just become around to the money of it, I mean, especially with this Whoopi thing, you know what I mean?
But that's what it comes down to at the end
thing,
of the day. And that kind of takes me into what I wanted to say is that just genuinely, when we look at it going into entertainment, but just speaking on a general level when it comes to non-melanated people, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just genuinely think censorship is okay when it's something that makes non-melanated people uncomfortable. Okay, then it's all for censorship. Let's censor it. Don't say that. That offends. Don't teach that in school, even though that is the history. We're not going to teach it. It makes people feel uncomfortable. Somebody's feeling uncomfortable. Are you being aggressive? I'm feeling attacked. No.
I wonder if her.
But hold on.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But sponsorship is granted when there's something that destroys melanated people. So certain music, certain media, certain imaging of us is pushed, is sponsored, is featured and paid money for, and the center of attention, and it's the most ridiculous thing that represents us in the worst way. And that's sponsored, but it's censored when it's something that makes non-melanated people feel uncomfortable. So that's just how I feel about it, because that's really what it is. So going into the Whoopi Goldberg thing, we all understand what has happened with the story. Whoopi was suspended. Whoopi's been on The View for almost 2 decades now. She was recently suspended for some comments that she made regarding the Judaism and regarding the Holocaust. Now, this is a sticky situation, right? Because this isn't the first time that we've seen some of our people get, backlash over this. Nick Cannon got backlash over similar things he said. What was that, 2 or 3 years ago? So basically, she's being censored for speaking how she feels about what happened. When it comes to, say, our history or the history of certain Asian, cultures that have been through traumatic, experiences, nobody says anything. It's fine. People just say whatever.
You're absolutely right.
Or we talk about Christianity, people say whatever. Yeah. But or even the Muslim faith, people just say whatever and it's fine. No censorship.
When I first saw that, the first thing I said, I wonder what would happen if, like, her white co-host said something like the Civil War wasn't about race, but about states' rights. You know what I mean? Something like that.
They say that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone said that before. I'm sure.
But what Whoopi tried to do is have a "I'm black and I say so" moment when she said, "No, listen, it is." You know what I mean? She, she tried to stand her ground with white folks. That's what this to me is really about. Whoopi trying to stand her ground with white folks, and she tried to have a "I'm black and I say so" moment, and it didn't go down that way.
Well,
go ahead, M-Dubs. Sorry.
Well, I agree with her because what I understand what she was trying to say. It wasn't solely about race, like black and white. Dude was getting rid of everybody. He was, what I'm saying? But she apologized and they still suspended her. That's what I don't get. And now she's back working with them kids in that choir. That's what I don't like. She's back as Sister Mary Clarence.
Sister X5.
Stop it.
What blew me, I thought Whoopi Goldberg was Jewish all this time. And I thought she converted.
Well,
I thought
I don't think that, but she's been
the
really
whole thing.
She's honestly been associating herself so much with them that I am surprised that they actually suspended her. I'm like, I thought Whoopi was y'all
I don't know why
black person.
Hey, she thought so too.
Person.
But you gotta
thought so too. That's the problem. She thought so too.
She thought so too. And OJ did too.
A lot of them though, this is the wake up call. She got a little wake up call.
No,
like, hey,
you gotta follow the
Kelly
hand history.
too.
You gotta follow the hand history. It's like when you talk about censorship and sponsorship, it kind of converges at a certain point, and it converges to illustrate a bigger picture. What I'm saying is that you can do all that shit, censorship here or there, sponsorship here or there. When you put them together, they showing you who the big joker is, though. The Jew card is the big joker at the table.
The J
You
card.
see what I'm saying?
Once
you step on the wrong toe, it don't matter what you say. Bam! That's my book. You can't do that. You can't do that. And they show Whoopi in front of everybody. They showing you can't do that. Matter of fact, just go ahead and I just said that.
It's the big joker at the table of oppression. So a white man can is at the head of the table whether we like it or not, right? And it's not just I do agree with your point, Kayla, about melanated people. But if you're saying something that advances a white cause, you can still, like Candace Owens Even Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle got more in common with a rich white man than he does with me at this point. So as long as he's stepping on a marginalized group that straight white men are in the opposition of, and they don't, any group that makes them feel uncomfortable, they just passed a law in Florida that you can't say things that make white women feel uncomfortable. Like you can't talk about things in class that would make like Michelle Obama's book made young white girls, and these are old white women making the bill. They want to ban it because it makes white women feel uncomfortable. So if I go up and I talk against gays, if I talk against transgender, if I talk about these marginalized groups, yeah, no, freedom of speech. But if I just tell Michelle Obama's story, that goes against an agenda. So it's not just if you're the right color, it's like what team are you playing for?
Mm. Well, that's kind of deep. I mean, that's a good thought.
I wanted Kay to jump in there because we kind of spoke about Dave Chappelle a little bit, and Dave Chappelle has had his ups and downs with the media. He's had major ups and downs, and he I don't even know what the conjugation is. He stood his ground. I guess there it is.
He stood his ground and he cashed that check, $20 million per show. Like nothing happened to do. The whole of Netflix, because he was stepping on a marginalized group that isn't straight white men, they doubled down on it.
I don't give.
So like,
I still don't see the step on.
They stand.
They stand
when they said they're not. First of all, he's not transgender. He's not a woman, and he identified with a group that doesn't acknowledge these this group as women. So as a black man in America, we got enough problems. So you stepping into Turk territory to say I stand with them when you're not a part of either group. It's like when a white man says black people shouldn't worry about the N-word. Like, what the fuck do that got to do with you, bro? And you're using this platform, this $20 million that you get per out to talk for an hour, whether funny or not. You chased it for 4 different specials about transgender. You're obsessed. And nothing has happened. There's no need to stand with Dave Chappelle. He's richer, and rich people stand by rich people, and poor people stand by rich people because they think one day they're gonna be rich too. And it's just like, what is Chappelle suffering from? Where do you have to stand with him? Because they may take away one of his $20 million specials. Boo fucking who, man?
No, I don't get the step on part. I don't know. I think other people interpreted the specials differently than I did. I do think he talked about it a lot. You know what I mean? More than
you know what a terp is? You know what a terp is?
Yes, it's something about trans. I don't want to say the wrong thing and get canceled or some shit, but I'm kind of familiar with the phrase.
If you don't know what it means, just say I don't know what it means.
I mean, I know what it means.
I don't want to get canceled.
You know, I loosely know it.
But censorship.
You might know better with the dreads in it.
Are you talking about trans exclusionary radical feminists?
Chill out, Darkwing Duck. You know what it means.
Gosh.
Yeah. No.
Is censorship respect for others? Like if you come around, say you come in the room, right, and it's old people in the room. You got the wildest mouth ever, but you finna like, yo, it's old people in here. Y'all finna chill on all that. But some people come in the room like, yo, I'm in here. I don't, whatever. They're gonna have to hear it. They don't, some people just don't believe in that respect for others sometimes. Mm-hmm. On the side of the game, on censorship. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Those people more so were just not raised properly. I don't know if it comes into the censorship place. Does it? Or I mean,
that say less. I like say less, man. Just say less.
If it's elderly in the room, I'm not gonna come in there talking like it was when me and my girls have our like drunk in the club kind of conversations. Like I'm not. That is not.
I guess I'm trying to say, is there always a need for?
No, I'm gonna speak like one of them is my grandmother.
Is there always a need for more powerful people to shut less powerful people up if they're doing stuff to hurt others?
Okay.
What you said, B-Self, I think kind of speaks to something that Clark said earlier about people kind of doing this, for themselves. Like you take that responsibility for yourself. I think you said that. Was that you, Clark? Somebody said it. I think it was you. Doing that for themselves. Like, look, okay, I know that this is insensitive, or I know that this is just unnecessary. Who was it? Oh, I thought, okay. I know that this is insensitive or unnecessary. Okay, your thing is way behind Clark.
Yeah, Clark, you may need to like run it away and run back. Like,
okay, so he did say that it was him.
Okay, he got the message.
It was him that said that.
Cool.
But
I'm like, is it me, or has this thing been like?
Yo,
no, it's definitely been doing something.
Clark Whitney Young education really be coming out, yo. Clark, yo, he's got a lot of introspective thoughts on censorship. I like it, because me, you know, it's a topic. I'm not gonna lie, it's not a topic I ponder every day. Like, are they gonna censor me? You know what I'm saying? I live my life, so this is the kind of topic that comes up when you get money, and somebody figures it says you can't get no money no more because censoring me might stop my money. You know, it's a lot of people. So, you know, so if I'm doing something, I'm getting money, and it's like, yo, and I feel it's, you know, and you come in there and say, hey, you can't have this show. You can't have this show tonight. I'm shutting it down. We censoring. You know, it's too raunchy. It's too this. It's too that. You know, you messing up my tour. You messing up my money. You know, stuff that people pay good money to see. So, but then you have other people say, no, but we don't want this in our area. We don't want this breeding in our environment. We want to keep our environment pure. So we don't even want what you're doing breeding amongst the minds of our environment. You know, it gets thick with the censorship. You know what I mean?
But really, it matters like who you are, because I feel like censorship really only matters if you care. You know what I mean? Like when I think about people that I love, like Kanye, this dude does not censor. He does not care about what you have to say about what he has to say.
Oh, he censored.
He is going to do his rant, and he's going to take however long he wants to take to do his rant, and y'all will wait till he is finished. He got more money, and he's now a billionaire. He does not care about what you know what I'm saying? So like where your position is also can have a lot to do with like if you care about being censored. Because with Whoopi, like I said, her whole thing is vested there. So them, you know, censoring her affects her clearly, as we see, because she's on leave without pay or whatever. Versus people like I said, like Kanye.
There's a I think what we're uncovering is simply is that there's definitely a relationship between censorship and power and position. You know what I mean? Dave Chappelle can say certain shit. We can't say that same shit. You see what I'm saying? You will give him the opportunity to explain himself. We go into that joke, and somebody be like, "Oh," they might get up and walk out. You see what I'm saying? So there's a level of power that but that's going to be on a sliding scale. It's just like y'all women. If a ugly dude say something to you and a dude you think is attractive, it'll hit you differently. You be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe he just said that to me." Or, "Oh my God, I cannot believe he just said that to me."
Censor that ugly dude. Censor that ugly dude.
You see what I'm saying? Depending on his position of power or position of dopeness, if you however you want to put it, you know, or the lack thereof.
That's another thing.
I really think that that Whoopi shouldn't come back to that show.
Well, can you explain that more?
That's good.
I feel like if she come back, these motherfuckers know they set a message by suspending her. She's been there 20 years, been defending people, holding it. Because I feel like this: if Barbara Walters said something inappropriate, they wouldn't suspend her for 2 weeks. They wouldn't. They would
make her issue a public apology and do like a press release, or do like a press conference and leave it at that.
I hope Whoopi understands. Okay, y'all did this. I hope she finds a way out and be like, you know what? Come back to the show, and on that show, she quit on their ass. That's what I hope she does on live TV. I hope she come back and this is my last day as a foul heartbeat. I'm out. Like, I hope she do that today.
And then actually get up and leave the set.
No, that's when they pull you to the side and they had that conversation with you offline. Like, listen.
But the question is does that benefit her? What's the most advantageous route for her? And if that's not it, then don't do that.
I'm sure Whoopi, she's probably good with money on, like, she's not hurting. Like, She don't have to go. You know what I'm saying? And look what we're doing. Can't Whoopi Goldberg can get on the internet and get a podcast where she definitely can
make her own show, make her own money.
No, I think that would be a viable option.
You don't think
you
so?
didn't go up against.
But you know, at the end of the day, she might just like her job. She's on TV every day. She may just like doing it.
They just showed you.
Do you do something for 2 decades with that you don't love?
I don't care. Y'all just showed me what y'all just told me what y'all thought of me. Y'all just showed me how y'all feel.
But you understand,
about
she's in the game. Okay, now check this out though. Again, they the big joker. They control the narrative. It's just as easy as you think it is to get on here and speak freely. This shit ain't even free. They can monitor this. They can control how many people see your message. It gets really deep. But my point is this: is that Whoopi is in a position right now. She's an older icon. You see what just happened to our other icons. She's in it for legacy at this point. And you go up against these motherfuckers, and they will turn you from being an actress, singer, to a goddamn anti-Semite.
Foundation has been set. She's already got the Tonys, and she's done it all. It's like,
hey, we said the same thing about Bill Cosby. He did all that, and guess what? Legacy gone.
Nah, I don't think his legacy gone.
As artists, yo, let me ask you something. As artists, I'm a promoter or whatever. I come up to y'all. I say, look, man, I want to book y'all, but I don't want y'all to touch on this. I don't want y'all to touch on that. Matter of fact, I kind of want y'all to write about this, or I'm paying for a service.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I might come and I might fashion it to a haircut and say, look, I like I'm paying you. I want my but am I buying a piece of art from you, or am I buying a service from you?
I'm gonna say
as a comedian. You know what I mean? As a comedian. Am I buying a piece of art, or am I buying a service?
Listen, because people do that all the time. They'll hire me. We all comics. You know what you're going to get, right? Don't hire me and try to water me down. Go get, if you know what I'm saying, go get that person. I wouldn't hire Cat Williams and be like, well, do some Who Don't Curse or some Bill. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that.
Yeah.
But
at that point, to answer your question itself, at that point, you're asking for a service. Because you're not asking me to come here and bring my artistic integrity.
And be me. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you're asking for me to provide a service via my talent.
You need a clown. You need to go get a clown.
But yeah, or you can be like, hell no, I don't want to do it.
Because I believe that a rich person, a billionaire, will come up to Kevin Hart and say, hey, can you do all jokes about my neighbor? Or can you do all, you know what I'm saying?
Keep catching that body.
No, I mean, in that, like, people always think they can tell somebody what to do.
Dubs, you're not turning that check down. Stop it. You're not turning that check down. They come to you with that bread and say, listen, I want to hear all jokes about Subway and puppies.
No, if it's something I do, I'm going to do it all day. But if you said put this dress on and do a female, I don't do that, bro. I'm not going to do
put the dress on.
I don't do. I'm just saying
jokes. I'm talking about jokes, right?
If I don't do those type of jokes, bro, if it's me, I'm gonna do it.
So the check won't make you. So the check won't make you do it. That's all. The check won't censor you. The check won't.
Only thing I can do is me, bro. That's all.
No doubt. Only person you can be is y'all. You can't be me for. You can't be me for 300 more grand, huh?
Nope.
300.
Listen.
Not Kayla, can you be me for 300 grand?
Listen, I'm gonna tell them. I know a guy who does exactly what you want. His name is B Self. He stay out west. Call that man.
I don't believe that, Doug. I find it hard to believe that somebody can come to you and say, "Hey, I ain't saying write some jokes. It's like to make you take a position that you don't have, but somebody can come and tell you, I want jokes about the inhumane society. I want jokes about animals. You'd be like, okay.
I'm gonna say, call Mark Henderson or call that nigga. If I don't do those jokes,
call the animal joke, man.
Now, if you say I need some jokes about the hood, about the folks, I got you. I'm gonna do that all day. But if you want me up that bullshit, nigga.
You gonna get that? No, I write a joke about him.
So okay, how do y'all feel about I think that's a good question. And, the pushback that Doc and Be Self were kind of giving, I was thinking about that too. Like, so as comics, if you all, get hired to be writers for something and they have a vision, you would turn it down if it's not something that you're already comfortable with writing?
Now that's different.
Ooh.
Why is that different?
That right there is a service.
Oh, you can write it, but you can't perform
Oh,
it.
That
okay.
right there is a service.
Is it because
That's
of
different.
is it because it's not
How's
stand up
different?
and stand up is your baby?
Exactly. Now, if you want me to write some shit about a homosexual falling in love with his brother, I can write that.
What?
I can do that. I'm just saying, creatively, I can do that. But if you need me to perform that, no, nigga, no. I'm not doing that.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I understand.
So you can have your name attached. You just won't be the one that is
That's a gay person.
Right. That ain't
doing
what I
this
do.
material.
Yeah.
Now, I can do that because I'm a writer. I can write a script. I can write some stuff, whatever. Right? But stand-up wise, I'm not.
Love scene. But you can't
stand
do
up.
the love scene.
No, because
Why are you like this?
stand-up is truth, right? It's your truth. It's your true.
Yeah,
the
it's
truest
off the
form.
cuff, right?
No, it's not off the cuff.
No, that's
Well,
job
not
thing.
off the cuff, but it's about real things rather.
Mm-hmm.
It's your
You're trying to
truth.
make it look like it's off the cuff. It could
Your
moments.
your
A lot of
your
the moments
job
can be off the
Your
cuff.
job is to make it seem like it's off the cuff. Most
Even
the
though
audience think it's off the cuff, but it's not.
Yeah, you do this every other day.
We
I
do
see.
it every time.
I've seen star comedians try to do whole shows off the cuff and it don't go right. Like,
But you know what?
jokes. Don't try to do this whole show off the cuff, cat.
I've seen all three of you hosting shows, and that's not scripted, and you all have done really well, like, and been extremely funny. So, like, y'all do things
Because
like, it's kind of spur of the moment.
You're funny. You're funny in moments. We're all funny
In moments.
But y'all, it's different when y'all.
Well, I say this since I'm
It's
the
an
world's best
environment
host.
that you're probably consistently funny in that you feel like you can control. There does an environment that exists that you feel like you can go into and be funny right
So
now.
are you saying that I've thought that y'all were just like special and super funny this whole time, and you're telling me that anybody can?
No.
Like,
No.
you can
No.
be
No,
self-
what it is,
Anybody
Kay,
can't be a stand-up comedian, but anybody can make people laugh consistently.
Yeah,
Just-
I don't think that's true at all. I think some people just not funny. But I would say that I think that what happens is when you are on stage so much and you host so much and you just on stage so much, it do be off the cuff, but it's a muscle that you've already worked. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like
okay.
out of nowhere, it just came out of nowhere. But
It's like
I can-
somebody who's really good at freestyling. They got a whole bunch of written raps,
Yeah.
so they can just pull from that.
that's
and
exactly what happens. It's
Yeah,
like
okay.
it's already there. Now you just and
you're
it pops
putting
out
it
because
together. You're putting it together, right?
and some people
It's
can do
like-
that faster than others. You see what I mean? Some people can just sit there and it seems like, oh my God, he's just naturally funny. He's actually processing information and jokes way faster.
And
That's
then
it.
there's a rhythm aspect to it. If you're in the rhythm, it's like a dancer or anybody else that does something and they fall into a rhythm. You know what I mean? If you're a bicyclist, anything you do well, there can be a rhythm that you can get into, and wow, and you're in that space.
You fuck around and say the wrong thing.
So you want to master, like, man, I'm always in a good rhythm. You know what I mean? Like, man, I was in a good heads, bouncing, everything was boom. You know what I'm saying? Like my jokes hit, that was good rhythm. And like fumbles, like say like you might miss a word. I always say that's like a football player running and he drops the ball, but he got to, recover it somehow. Like, but it's a fumble. But did you recover the fumble or did you lose the ball? You know what I mean? Because a slight of word could alter the whole demonstration. So.
That is a perfect segue into the next thing, because this is where we're really going to want to hear a lot of you all's like experiences and thoughts on this next topic that we're going to talk about. So, we've all heard about cancel culture. We talked about it a little bit earlier. So as comics, you all have had this opportunity to be in front of crowds. And I know that being a comic is like it's artistry, right? You're pulling things from yourself. You are, making it into an experience for whoever is, watching you. And you want them to think it's funny. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Those are things you have to learn and adjust for. So when you are in a situation and you're in front of a crowd and all of these things, how much do you think about the backlash that you could get about what you say? And let me just add a little bit to that. So with something like comedy, which is art, it's about the audience, how they accept you or don't, right? So if you're going up every night and you're bombing, like, people aren't going to want to see you. But if you're, making them laugh, they want you back. Or if you're saying things that are super offensive, maybe some people might want to see you if that's like a niche audience, but some people might not. So what type of thought goes into that when you are preparing, a set for a show? Let's start with you, M Dubs, and then we'll go to Doc, then we'll go to B Self.
For me, I don't give a damn. I choose my comedy from my life experience. And as a comedian, you understand you're not for everybody, right? Everybody is not going to love you or think you funny, and that's okay. When Jay-Z write a rhyme, he's not like, yo, this is for everybody. Everybody gonna love it. He's writing what's in his heart, what he feel. Either you gonna fuck with it or you not. And that's how my comedy is. Either you gonna fuck with it or you not. If you're offended, I don't, sometimes I say things like, depending on the room, sometimes, because I can turn my set on from. The worst thing is like when people don't say nothing. So sometimes I call it like, you have to say something offensive just to get them to give you something, and then you could go off that. Because we always trying to find our rhythm, always trying to find that space. So I would say something deliberately offensive so I can hear an ooh or ah, because I need something to gauge these niggas off of. So if I throw something out there and they ain't taking that, then I know where to go. So it's a lot of little things, but I'm not writing my comedy thinking about if it's offending people or this and that. I really don't care. I stay true to me and who I am and what I do. Either you gonna fuck with them dubs or you not. Period.
Okay, so we got one person that does not put any thought into
He's giving Kanye energy. Okay,
aspect of the artistry. Okay. What about you, Dot?
I do think about it because the type of topics I talk about, they require me to, to kind of, because I lean a little bit more to the intellectual, kind of controversial side sometimes. So I'm gonna talk about, being a foster kid. I'm gonna talk about my thoughts on homosexuality. Like I got canceled for somebody tried to cancel me about a joke that I told because I said in the joke. Now, mind you, everything I said about the joke was being pro everybody living their life, right? But the lady tried to cancel me at the Laugh Factory, wrote a whole goddamn, I don't even know, 2-page thing and sent it to me, telling me how I was offensive because I said I like this joke I talk about my son possibly being gay, and I told it was a worry of mine. You know what I mean? Right. It didn't say that, you're gonna shun your child. It's just like, but I was being honest as a parent. This is a thought that even enter your brain. You know what I mean? And I should be able to express that feeling without you being offended about something that I felt. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's like, what I did, instead of trying to not do that joke no more, what I did is I put a little bit more structure in front of it to kind of make you clearly see where I'm coming from. So I'm like, maybe that's what was missing there. So do I censor it? No, I'm not going to censor it. But do I find a way to not block the fullness of you receiving the joke at its maximum laugh and what it's intended? I can do that for you, but I'm not going to just be like, I'm not talking about this or no.
Wait, can I say something?
Real quick, go ahead.
I feel like they fucked with you on that because they felt like you cared. Like I got a joke like that about my son. That's my truth. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me how to feel about me and my boy. And I feel like the way you came off with that joke gave a person the right to feel Well, because it's like you was tiptoeing with it. Like, fuck them niggas. Like,
Yeah.
it's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he's wrong or woo off the bam, but you know what I'm saying? I take that away. I take that away about you not clear on where I stand or you know what I'm saying? And I think that's why.
I mean, I thought I was pretty clear, but
they drove in on you because you cared.
But cancel culture, again, cancel culture just depends. It depends on who you are, what the situation is. And because cancel culture can be different for different people. Just like with Kevin Hart, he had his moment of cancel culture where he was supposed to host, I think, the Emmys or something, and they straight replaced him. Oscars. And they straight replaced him versus other people who have been removed from TV shows with $1 million severances.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like the cancer culture, not even or fair. It's crazy.
That's called hoeing. They hold Kevin Hart like for real.
What?
Like, that's where I'm from. That's
called, they punked him. Meaning they punked him. They punked
you.
They punked
him. You know what I'm saying? They punked you. And that's what I'm saying. That's what they trying to do to. That's what they did to Whoopi. And if she stayed on that show, you continue to let these people punk you. Don't let them punk you.
Yeah, I think she shouldn't go back too. Now that you think about it,
money.
But it's about who's carrying the big stick. That's what it's about. You know what I mean? You can talk about certain people as long as they're not, as long as you got the big stick. The community that he talked about was offended. They got the big stick right now. Bow, sit your ass down. You see what I'm saying?
80 years old. How long do you need to work, Whoopi?
I mean, how long has cancel culture really even been like around? It's a new phenomenon, isn't it?
No.
I mean, they canceled Luke, the 2 Live Crew, Banned in America. I mean, they canceling people. I mean, you know, like,
did they cancel them though?
Yeah, they banned 2 Live Crew from shows. They banned a lot. They arrested rappers. I mean, they told NWA if you do F the police, we gonna lock you up. They went in there, did it, and they all got locked. You know what I'm saying? They've been putting it down, saying what we want y'all to do and what we don't.
But the difference is now,
until your money is to a certain place, there's just certain things that you can't do and certain,
freedom magnified because everyone has a voice now. So
that's what I was gonna say. The difference is
talking now. So it's a lot more stuff to cancel.
But the gatekeepers aren't the.
But there's always been
the gatekeepers aren't the only ones that cancel people now. You know, they was canceling Billie Holiday for singing Strange Fruit. You see what I'm saying? The gatekeepers aren't the only ones that have the power to cancel now. And that's the difference between now and then. Now, we can get together and we can decide to cancel anybody. R. Kelly was walking around uncanceled all this damn time. Ain't shit changed. The culture changed. And he got caught with the culture change. You see what I'm saying? But 10 years ago, he'd have been still out here, stepping in the name of love.
A strong group of a couple of dozen typers can get you out of here.
Yeah.
Bing, bing, get them out of here.
At the end of the day, if they want to remove you, they will figure out a way to do it. Some people think they can't be canceled. I mean, unless you own it, you can be canceled.
When I write jokes,
you can be on the board and be canceled.
You know what I'm saying?
Dave Chappelle be canceled?
Wait, hold on. Let's get B-Self's answer to that question, and then we'll get into it.
Nobody should. Okay, it's one of those things that everybody want to be like, yo, I want to come raw. Okay. Oh, baby, I like you raw. Everybody want to be like, yo, I want to be raw and cut. Don't censor me, son. You know what I'm saying? But you still got to be likable. So, okay, be raw. Do we like you though? Because you can get away with damn near saying anything if we like you. And that's been proven. 50 Cent proved that. A lot of people prove that. Say it. Do we like you though?
Yeah, Dick Gregory used to tell this joke.
It's like not everybody can say it. Okay, Whoopi, you said what you said, but okay, I don't want to go to Whoopi. That was too deep. That's not good because anybody who say that, damn, they gonna get it. But it's just like, do we like you? You know, yeah, you said that, but we like you. You know, the way you said it didn't make us feel that bad because you said it kind of, you know what I mean?
Well, let's take the most likable black person,
Kevin Hart,
and give them Whoopi words.
They gone.
and see do that stand up.
I
No,
don't
I mean,
think it's
like
happening.
like a Jay-Z.
No.
Yeah, he gone.
He's
They'll start
gone.
tearing him down tomorrow.
nah, I mean, I don't even think he's the most likable, but I just think
I'm just saying.
But you know, anything
Kevin Hart is the most likable black person.
So that brings me
that
to
whole
my,
thing was always going to be a problem with what she said. Period.
but that brings me to my
It wasn't
other
right.
talking point is that can you be canceled from a culture you're not a part of, or you can't cancel someone who's not a part of that culture? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Right.
if you make your money in the black community, who cares if they don't? If some, you know what I'm saying? Or if you make your money in whatever sector, who cares if they cancel you over here because it doesn't affect your money or whatever. Like, yeah, okay, people have a page online where they talk shit about you, but like it's not affecting anything. You know what I'm saying? So what about that in terms of cultural?
I think that depends where your distribution is. Like if you're an independent person who, is doing your thing and people are tuning in to you and it's all black people that tune in and somebody white didn't like something you said, yeah, not going to affect you. But if you're on some like daytime television or something like that, and even if you're on daytime television, chances are your main audience is not black. But so like I think that I don't know, we got to look at that a little bit differently, because I think what you said is true, but not for most people who have anything to do with major distribution companies. If you are connected with a major distribution company and non-black people stop messing with you, you're going to be affected money-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Because
black people the money it's always going to
big
come down
enough.
to the dollars and cents of it.
What'd you say, Doc? I'm sorry.
It's always going to come down to the dollars and cents of it. It goes in hand with the power structure type of thing. That's why I said can Dave Chappelle be canceled? He's proven that at this point, no. At this point,
or so has Ye. He's been canceled like 4 or 5 times.
Yes, but the thing is, apparently, when
and
you
he just gets bigger and bigger each time he gets canceled.
But every time you get canceled, you come back and get more money. Cancel me, goddamn.
What groups has canceled Ye?
Exactly, M-Dubs. I was going to say the same thing.
Because black people are flip-flop, but his main people ain't been changing up on black people be done with him every week.
Yeah, you're right, actually. His main audience, whenever I'm at Kanye shows, because I love Kanye, I go to Kanye shows, it's like more white people than the average hip-hop show.
Like Dave Chappelle isn't hooked up with corporate sponsors like that. He doesn't do Coca-Cola ads and Subway ads and Nike ads and like Steve Harvey. They out here trying to get corporate money. Dave does his shows and go home. You know what I'm saying? Like he ain't out here trying to like get hooked up with Pizza Hut. So he can Dave can say what he want to do. You know what I'm saying? Because it is what it good. But if I want to get hooked up with the Aflac, do a commercial, son.
Yeah, that's not going down. They actually do a lot of commercials with I know about that. They do a lot of commercials with nonprofits. So you have to think about when you do stuff like that, companies is not just about what they think about you. It's also about their affiliates as well. When we're getting more into media and advertising and marketing, if I have affiliates that are in a particular thing, I can't have influencers or spokespeople that are doing things that these people will find offensive. So the whole spectrum, when you look at it, is not just one thing. It's all the different types of media and then all the different intersectionalities in business.
I want to see a painting be censored. I want to Google and see when the last that
happened. Just like wasn't it who put their album cover on a bus and it was drawing attention and people were upset about it because they said that it needed to be censored? Was it 2 Chainz? Who had put their album on a bus? I can't remember what happened. They got
art. It was censored artwork. Huh?
Oh no! It was Meek Mill. Right?
No,
I don't.
I can't recall.
I'm straight R&B. 80s R&B.
I think it was Meek Mill. I can't even remember actually. Recently,
somebody was more so because
he had his album on the side of a bus and it was causing issues because that is considered a public advertisement. So in whatever city and county that is in, they have the censorship over it. I know because I actually work directly in this industry. They have the censorship over it. So that's why he was having so much issue, because wherever he would go, the people who, you know, whatever territory you in, technically you doing public advertising in that space, so they can actually say you cannot have this on like a commercial sized bus. You know what I'm saying? So that's how deep censorship even is.
I mean,
and there's, you know,
go ahead.
There's two types of censorship, and I think people kind of get them mixed up sometimes. There's the censorship that is going to cost you your position at a company, or it's going to cost you your spot hosting, you know, a certain show or whatever the case may be. And then there's like this other like social media, oh, they're canceled thing where like nothing actually happens, but people talk a lot of like S word for, you know, a couple of weeks and then it's over. So like even when the whole Dave Chappelle thing happened, I heard a lot of talk about it, but I'm not sure if that translated into anything in his day-to-day life. From what I know, it didn't. So when people were saying like he's getting canceled, I was like, he's actually not canceled at all. Nothing happened. A few people online wrote think pieces, and then what? Nothing happened.
But nothing could happen to him for the same exact reason. He is not tied to.
Well, something should have. I don't think it should have. I'm not against.
No, what I'm saying is that he's pretty much purchased his own freedom at this point.
But Doc, it could have been because Netflix could have said, you know what, we're taking that off of here. They could have done that. But they didn't. That would have been him getting canceled in my eyes. But a bunch of people writing think pieces or saying their opinion about something isn't necessarily canceling. Now, when we're talking about artistic things, like we're talking about, you know, and I keep saying comedians because y'all are comedians. If we're talking about comics or something and no room wants to have you there, and you're like a what is it called? Like you do your own business, you're like a private contractor, then yes, you're canceled because you can't even get
you
work.
Can't book a venue.
Exactly. So that's a lot different than a person who's connected with something like Netflix and Netflix doesn't cancel them. If the person that's paying you doesn't cancel you, you're not canceled. People can write about, they're always going to write something.
But people, you can get canceled. We done seen comics in Chicago get canceled already. Shit off of hearsay. You know what I mean?
I think it can work either ways. Because here's the beauty of stand-up is, let's say you do get canceled from Netflix and they pull your stuff, right? You would still be able to play the clubs.
Because he's so big, right?
You could still like as far as stand-up comedians, like our thing is like even the ones that fall from grace that was in movies and was actors and all that, at the end of the day, it's supposed to be you can always play the clubs. You know what I'm saying?
But see, that's not a full cancel then. You see what I'm saying? That's a little partial cancel.
What I'm saying is
a full cancel.
The full cancel is when you can't play, and then if people say if you play there, they don't want to play there. Then that's when you start getting the full cancel.
Yeah, you done.
You know, here's the thing, man. Once you become
Joe Rogan, it just happened to Joe Rogan. I'm surprised we didn't talk about it.
I guarantee you, it's just still new. In a week, but Joe Rogan's not a comedian, though, right?
Yes, he is. We're supposed, yeah.
What a lot of black famous people do when they get on, they start buying stuff. Okay, and in order to maintain the stuff you buying, you have to work.
Shut the fuck up.
Okay, in order to not be able to not work and not maintain this shit you buying because you black.
Tony said it in.
Did Louis C.K. get canceled?
Because who's cutting your check?
Did Louis C.K. get canceled or no?
For what?
But he's part. But again,
now
we got to take it to the black thing. I'm sorry, but now we got to take it to the black thing. Louis C.K. is part of a dominant society. He's white. He's not a black comic. You know what I'm saying?
He still got canceled.
You know?
Did he?
He still,
nah.
Yeah. You ain't seen
man.
He got lightweight canceled, bro.
It canceled, man.
He was super strong canceled at first, and it kind of died down.
Do y'all think? Let's get an answer for this question from all of you. Do you all think that comedians specifically should have more, I guess, more room to say offensive things than like the average person because of the industry? Like, do you think that, just what's your personal opinion? We're going to go to each person. Let's try not to interrupt each other so that we don't get way off track with the topic. But do we think that, or do you all think that comedians should have more room to kind of say offensive things than just a news anchor or whoever on TV, other people that are out, you know, in media doing different things? Let's start with you, B-Self.
We should, but we don't. We definitely should, because it's needed, because the people want us to. If you ask most of the people going to the comedy show, they showing up because, yo, I want y'all to get loose, yo. I want to hear some stuff that I want never ever hear. Like, I want to hear some stuff I ain't supposed to be hearing. That's what you used to come to comedy show. Like, close the door, y'all. Shh, come here. There's some stuff ain't nobody supposed to be knowing. You used to hear some stuff that takes you to work in the morning and take everybody around a water cooler and be like, look what I heard. You know what I'm saying? Because you heard some stuff that was unique. And that was like, you went there to hear something funky like that. You know, now you go there to make sure you don't hear nothing funky like that. And you feel you hear something funky like that, you know what I'm saying?
They're waiting for you to slip up. Wait.
Not you almost, a lot of people go to the comedy shows now to make sure they don't hear nothing that they're not supposed to hear. Make you know, you used to go there to hear something you weren't supposed to hear. Now you show up saying, I bet not hear something I'm not supposed to hear.
It's like, oh, that was a good show. He was so like not problematic.
Exactly. Whereas he used to go into be like, you're looking for the problem. You used to show up like, man, you know, you wanted the dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? You wanted the problem. Now you
and even with that, you can see how there are so many, like, I can't remember who it was, but there was this comedian I was watching. He put together a reel of Karens like having outbursts at his shows, right? For like stuff that he was saying. It was the most hilarious thing ever. People were getting so upset. And I'm like, well, why did you come to this show? Like, have you not seen his stuff before you came to this show? Like, I don't understand.
Kayla, you and I both know people will come and watch when they hate you, when they don't like
you.
Yeah,
they don't like you.
They
have offended by everything you say. Yet they take tickets to come to this show. Like, it's crazy.
They come, listen, am I offended? Like, they come waiting.
Yes.
Nowadays, it's like, oh, I'm coming there to be on that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's come from an entitlement generation of entitlement now. People are so entitled. People feel like they're entitled to tell you how to think now. And that's what that lady was trying to do, Doc Love. She felt entitled enough to tell him how to think about his own child.
MW, what do you think? Yeah.
I love the fact that we don't have the room, because when you do say it, because I'm the comic that will say it, and I think when you're able to do it and talk about those things that you don't supposed to say, it makes it all more funnier. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you can do it creatively. Just like B-Cell said, people are coming to hear you not talk about certain things. So I know that. So that's why I will talk about it, because I want to, you know what I'm saying? I want to talk about the shit that you thought you wasn't going to hear, but you still ain't going to be mad you heard it because you really did want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? So
you do that. Definitely.
I
I've
definitely
seen you do stand up on several occasions, and you definitely do that.
I definitely will. I definitely will, because like we all know, what's the point of putting on your clothes, coming out at 8 o'clock, and then being able to predict what you're going to see? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to be able to predict me and what I talk about. You know what I'm saying? Not me. So I like the fact that we're looked at now as, well, you can't say this. That's bullshit, because a lot of comics, well, especially where I perform at, I'm not worried about getting canceled, because my next show is on 59th and Honorary. What you gonna do? Stop that shit? You know what I'm saying? So I'm not worried about those things. You know, I mean, here's the truth about me. So I would do the laugh factory, and my opening line is or was, they got out on me. I used to open up and say, "What up, faggot ass niggas?" And they would laugh, right? every time I went to the laugh factory, I said, "What up, faggot ass niggas?" Now in Chicago, we say that.
You mean the cigarettes, the Italian cigarettes, the French cigarettes? But
here's what made me mad. Okay, because they came to me after the show, whatever, said, "Hey man, you know, some people got offended." I said, "And what?" "Well, you said faggot." I said, "So I can't say that, but I can say nigger." They was like, "Well, because you're black, you can." I said, "Well, I'm a faggot. I'm gay. Like whatever I need to be to say that, nigga." You know what I'm saying? Like.
So what was the response when you said that?
They didn't say shit. It's like, how can y'all be offended at one thing, but y'all ain't offended at the N-word? It's like,
well, that's the Dave Chappelle joke right there. That's literally what he said. He said, "I can say nigga with impunity, but the first time I say anything about being gay, you know, it's a rap." He's like, "Well, David, because you're not gay." He's like, "Well, I'm not a nigga either."
But I don't say it no more because my intention is not to offend no. You know what I'm saying? I don't go into.
But the purpose of comedy has always been to push the boundaries. The purpose has always been to spark. The purpose has always been to say those things that we are not comfortable saying, so people get to say them in a comedic setting to make it smooth over a little bit better. Is that not what comedy has like always been? For where like the hard truth comes out, you know, where people are able to speak that hard truth.
Comedy was about saying things that people always wanted to say, but couldn't say it or couldn't articulate. Like if you watch George Carlin, he talks about the stuff that makes you be like, damn. But I don't understand how, you know, how they don't want us to do that no more. You know, Pryor did it. You know, Eddie Murphy did it. Like Eddie Murphy couldn't do that set from Raw or Delirious in 2022.
But he would tell you he's disgusted by it.
Yeah, he say that.
You know,
yeah, you gotta say that now.
He looks at it and like, yo, I'm disgusted. Meanwhile, some of us can look at it and we still crack up.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying I look at it and crack up, but some people can.
Because you're an Eddie hater.
This motherfucker, how you gonna deny Eddie?
It's you know, it puts me back in that time. You know what I'm saying? It's because, you know, but wow, you know, it's so different now. You know, I used to do a joke about having a gay nephew that was in a gay gang, and you know, my sister wanted me to help him because, you know, he felt that he was getting sucked in. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't say that joke no more. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even touch a joke like that.
See, I do a whole 15. I got a whole 15 minutes.
I wouldn't touch subjects about homosexuality.
Listen, I got 6 gay nephews.
I mean,
and I'm always talking about.
It's not worth it to me. It's not worth it. To me, it's not worth it.
And why are people so obsessed with the LGBTQ community? Like, leave them alone.
Before anyone answers that, do you guys think the main reason to just end off the cancer culture? Is that the reason why, like you said, be self, you don't touch certain subjects? Is it truly because you're worried about getting canceled, or is it just because you understand how, you know, just times are different with what's being,
you know, it's just like some groups don't want to get teased, and that, you know what I mean, and that's what they say. Like, look, we're a particular group that don't like to get teased unless you it's from our own.
But what you tease, you're not teasing them. You're not.
I mean, I think you are teasing them. Anytime I bring it up, like, you know what I'm saying? What's up with the gay people who be, you know, it's teasing them. You know what I'm saying?
I cannot with your like
it's teasing.
But it reminds me of Justin Bieber's roast, though. When they have stuff like that, I'm like, that's fine though. Like,
I know, but the part is people don't even.
Did you see some of them? I mean, they're
the roast.
No, I'm just saying. See, some people don't want to get teased anymore, so it's just like, okay.
So this is the thing, you don't get to have that option. You do not get to weaponize your feelings against me. You see what I'm saying?
But Doc Love, to me, and until you get into a space, it depends like this. If I want to be a comic that just makes enough money to fix up my house, then I could probably say whatever. But if I want to be a comic to try to possibly
fix up your house,
because some people, that's my goal. Like, look,
the things that you use as like,
because you say, you know what, I want to make enough money in this industry to fix up my house.
Well,
you're like, I just want to get my back porch.
I understand.
Yo,
I understand the
it's like
concept.
any
I'm
side
just trying
job
to
you
build
do.
a fire
You
pit
doing
in
hair?
the back. You feel me?
If you doing, you might want to. You got any goal? You're like, look, I'm doing this. I'm driving Uber because I want to fix. It's a job.
I understand that, but listen, how can you have? But how can you then? How can you on one hand say that we as a marginalized group of people want equality, right? But you don't want to get treated like everybody else. I talk about everybody else. Me not talking about you.
Yeah.
Me not talking about you is not. That's not equality. You see what I'm saying? What you're doing now is you don't want equality. You want dominance, and that's not okay.
You know,
see what I'm saying?
I've heard that argument before, and I think that the thing about it is, if you are like B Self said, some people just don't want certain things to happen, and I understand that with comedy and certain things, you know, people are going to say what they're going to say, but that doesn't mean people can't not like it. It's kind of like at school, like with kids. Some kids enjoy roast sessions, like they're there, you know, you roast them, it's fine, they're laughing with you. Some kids feel really bad about it. Like it just, I think that just is a level of consideration.
But everybody can get it though. But the fact that my thing is this, and when I tell my jokes about the topic, since we talking about the LGBT, they're not offensive anyway. So that's the one thing. But it just in to the argument itself, you don't, if you the one kid that likes to get roast and don't like to get roast, you're getting roasted because y'all kids, because we all equal, we all in this. If you come in and say, oh, you can't roast me because this,
but
and
it's
other,
not for you to decide who likes to get roasted and who doesn't. Some people really don't.
That's not, but am I supposed to care because you don't want to get roasted and I'm trying to treat everybody equally?
I see it as a business.
But do you treat everyone equally? That's the thing. That's the thing. And I'm not saying that you don't, but I think a lot of times, like certain groups that are marginalized don't really feel like they're treated equally. Like it would be different if there was the same access for the LGBTQ community, but there's not.
Yeah.
So just like with Black people, there's not the same access. So if there was no racism, I might feel differently if I see a white person tell a certain joke. But when we're in the situation we're in, certain things, no.
It depends on if you're punching down or not, though. So the thing is, I don't punch down against marginalized communities because that's not the type of person I am. But me not making a joke about you, I'm going to make some jokes, but I'm not going to punch down on you or.
I get what you're saying.
There's like levels, right? The below the belt or whatever.
No, just punching down on you, like, you know, trying to hurt your feelings with my jokes, trying to be intentionally adding to your struggle. That's not what you're going to get from anything I'm saying. But for me to just totally avoid you would be me not being genuine to myself, and it would be me not treating you as an equal.
Because we see y'all ass.
You know, I would love to.
Be self was gay for like 2 weeks.
In a personal setting. In a personal setting, though, I can understand people have their choice about what they want to participate in. But when you become a public figure, it's really frustrating to me when people get, you know, huge and then they say, you know, oh, you know, they have an issue with people, you know, joning them, like straight up talking about them, making fun of them, making videos. Like it's just what comes with it. So you have to take the good with the bad. And I think there are some people that has thin skin and like can't do it.
Can we tell our jokes about that community and not be talking about the ones that don't want to be talked about? Because I feel in my head that's how it works. I'm not talking about y'all who don't want that trouble. I'm only talking about the people who's okay with me talking about them. I'm not dissing y'all. Y'all good over there?
At some point, it just becomes bad business because it's just like, you know what, as a business person and a business decision, it's better business to stay away from it because it's too much liability risk to go into it. You know what I mean? So just sometimes at some point it just becomes about what's better for business.
It all depends if
You know what I
I'm not
mean?
saying this. I'm not saying you're just making up gay
I
jokes.
know it's totally what you're saying. I'm saying it could be the realest stuff. It could be the
I'm
realest.
saying that this is stuff that happens to
Yo,
you.
it could be your life. It's real. You going through it, but is it bad for business to bring it up?
I don't.
That's all I'm saying.
I don't think so.
I
I think
You know what I mean?
in a day and age where everything
I'm
is so
going to
fake.
tell y'all the interactions between me and my gay nephew because it's funny. This dude, he do wild shit.
Yeah.
He's funny. I'm gonna say that on stage. And if you offended, that's my nephew. I love him. He just happens to be a homosexual. Why I can't discuss that on stage?
Do people tell you that you can't talk about your gay family members on stage?
No, I never had nobody. But what I'm just saying is it's bad for business.
I used to tell a joke. I tried to tell a joke at Jokes and Notes one time, and Mary put me to the side. She's like, "Yeah, don't ever tell that joke again," because the crowd wasn't ready for it, you know, and it was like it was a dumbass joke. But
There are certain topics that we just can't speak about, and I don't know, because for me, like just thinking about back
like
to
what?
brunch
Name a
with
topic
my
you can't
friends,
talk about that
we
can't
all
be made
talk-
funny.
Huh?
Can you name a topic that can't
we
be made
won't
funny?
name because you can't speak about it, Doc.
What you mean?
Please, I can't.
I'm saying name a topic that you can't
No.
be turned into hilarious.
No, did you get the rules before the show? Don't talk about no.
Oh shit, my bad. I ain't read the letter.
There are rules.
Anyway, like I was going to, I don't even know what I was going to say no more.
There are rules.
You were saying there are certain things that you can't talk about.
You can't do it, man. Y'all rebels. People just want to be rebels, man. And I used to be the same way. Wanted to be a rebel until I got some money.
And then you were like, okay, let me just go sit down.
All right, let me go sit my ass
and
down.
change all that.
Yeah.
That change all that rebel shit, okay?
Yeah, you might be right.
Broker breed rebel. And
yeah.
you would be like, what you want me to say? Because I need some
Right, but I think that the one thing that I do like about Dave is that he proved that he wasn't going to do that. Sometimes those compromises that people think that Dave Chappelle could have been, that Martin Lawrence ended up kind of taking those roles because he wasn't willing to do certain things. Mm-hmm. So I think the whole cancel culture thing is just, it's selective. It's so selective. Like
it's here. It is here to stay, and it's only gonna get thicker.
I don't know.
Get thick like a Houston stripper.
I think it only affects those who worried about it. I'm not worried.
I
about
agree.
It. It's just like COVID.
But it's not going to affect everyone because some people can get away with saying more. That's the thing.
Man.
Some people
just like able to get away, be self. What is it? Money?
Straight teeth. Straight teeth can be one. Your voice. Your posture.
What?
Bullshit.
No, I'm not. A lot of things can be the way we perceive you, your threat level.
Straight teeth. Okay.
Yeah, it could be. You know what I'm saying? Don't straight teeth make a difference when I approach you on the train for your number?
Okay, so are you saying that a person's looks, you know, people might like you more if you look a certain way versus not?
If you make them comfortable with what you're saying, you know what? Like he's saying some crazy stuff, but he said it in a way that made me comfortable. But you said the same thing and it's uncomfortable.
Well, that go back to what I said earlier about the person talking to you. The presentation does matter. It does matter, the presentation, but I still think at a certain place. You say the wrong thing about the wrong group, and you getting them real quick. Yeah, no matter what you look like.
I feel like depending on who you are, it's choosy. Just like with Kevin had been thriving and doing his thing for years. He even got through the whole him cheating on his wife scandal and everything. They brought up something from 10 years ago to take a job from him today.
Mm-hmm. But they want to show you
as if a lot of these other people that are stars don't have something stupid from 10 years ago on their Twitter, on their MySpace page or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. It's like sometimes cancel culture be selective.
You know,
and it's
it
like,
was just,
who's
you got to
doing
realize,
this? For
you
real.
got to, and you all, man, it's racism too. It's racism. Like, there's a lot of people that don't want to see him host that. It's a lot of people that don't want another black person to host that. And you know, I'm sure they would have tried to do the same thing.
I think it's more so they want to show you
he
who
hosted 15 years ago.
I think it's more so they want to show who boss.
So don't never forget about the racism factor.
There's definitely racism. And that
that's everywhere, right?
They want to show you who boss. That's what they want to do. They're trying to show you. They're trying to show you who boss. They taking down. If you look at the people that they're coming for, they're not coming for Flavor Flav. You see what I'm saying? They're coming for people to show you, no matter where you are at, you know, no matter where you are at, we can come and get you.
They did cancel Professor Griff.
Who?
In Public Enemy, it was a Public Enemy, riff, because Flave's in Public Enemy and Professor Griff's in Public Enemy. And he got
so, as we're talking about this, it brings up a question that I've been wondering. When we talk about certain groups that kind of have power to make something happen, right? We're not going to stand for this. If you say this is what's going to happen. We know that this is the case for certain groups, that there's that power, that organization, like people don't even want to touch certain things so that they don't get quote unquote canceled. So as Black people, though, I think about this sometimes. I'm like, we don't have that power. Are we low key just mad that we don't have that power? Because I know if we had that power, I would be like, look, certain things people are not going to be doing and saying on mainstream media. If I had that power,
we know you would shut it down.
In terms of the representation of Black people, you're not about to do this. Exactly. So like we honestly need to be inspired and organize and get together and say, look, we don't want this representation like this all the time. It's okay to be, sometimes.
You're absolutely right.
The market is oversaturated with very specific images of Black people, but we don't have any power to change it. None. We have zero power to change that.
I don't know. I think we do.
We do have power. We just don't exercise it.
We don't have the power because we don't have the organization, and everyone's not even on the same page.
And
we have the biggest power that you need, and that's this
hip hop.
We're not the biggest.
No. The biggest power we need.
The
biggest power we need.
People who spend, we spend.
The biggest
more.
power you need. I'll say this: the biggest power that you need in this whole conversation is organization.
That's what I'm saying. We don't have that.
Everything else that happens after that, because they can.
I agree, Love. I agree with that, but we don't have that organization. Therefore, we don't have that power. I'm not saying we couldn't get that power. We can, but we're not on the same page. So we don't have. Whereas certain other communities are on the same page. Oh, you said this. We're all on the same page. This is not. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And if we all don't do it, it's not going to work.
If we all don't do it, it's not going to work.
It's so much stuff that Black people were dealing with. Police brutality, fucking gangs and drugs. It's so much we dealing with as a people that we can't even focus on. Like in our community, that's like small to the shit that we need to fucking do. And that's crazy because the other groups, that's nothing because they don't have to deal with the other shit. So yeah, they could come together and
I get that.
You know what I'm saying? But we're worried about our sons getting pulled over and fucking shot.
Exactly.
And so much shit we got to deal with. I would love for us to be on that level where somebody says something about Black people and we make that phone call and they ask out and they're done.
But do you see that? In a sense, we do have that. In a sense, if you say the wrong thing, you say nigga to somebody on your air, or you say the wrong racially slurred thing, in certain answers you do get taken down. But what I want to make,
but we're not doing it. Other people doing it in our interest. It's not us doing it.
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah, I will give you that.
Our interest, in their interest.
Yes, you know what I'm saying, Kay? It's not us.
Everybody want to have a cool Black friend. But my point is this: we make a grave. I think we do ourselves a grave disservice when we think that we need everybody, all of us, to be on the same board. We don't. We ain't never all been on the same board.
We need a lot of us. I said all, but I was speaking figuratively.
We need a good deal.
We need a lot.
United, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, and I use the example of King and X. People didn't like Martin Luther King when he was alive. You don't even know that. We don't even know that. He wasn't loved by the whole world. You know what I mean? Malcolm X wasn't the bad guy to everybody. My point is that while we're waiting on everybody to get on the same board, we're gonna miss a whole lot of shit. You don't need everybody.
So
Everybody
what needs to happen, Doc? Because what needs to happen? Because I think I like how you said that, because I mean we don't need everybody. Like I said, I know I said earlier all, but figuratively, we need more than we have now, is what I'm saying. I think that we don't have enough people on the same page, which is why we don't have certain things that we view as unacceptable, like for the majority of us.
I think the two things that we could use are organization and obligation. You see what I'm saying? Organization and obligation. Organizing, because that's where you can actually put things and actually to practice, and obligation, that when you holding people to certain standards, so that way there is no faulting from, and there is no we all getting in disarray. You know what I mean? You got to have people that are leaders of movements. They don't have to be the biggest of movements. You know what I mean? Like Dr. King didn't make the struggle. The struggle was already there. They made Dr. King. We in our struggle right now. You see what I'm saying? And it should be harvesting. It should be cultivating somebody else at this exact moment. You see what I'm saying? And it is. But what we need to do is, the first part is organize. And the only way people feel like they need to organize nowadays until they got to. You see what I'm saying?
Feel like don't be passionate and be censored to fight to say some bullshit. If you're gonna, fight to say something, if they censor it, make sure they censoring something important. Are they censoring some dumb stuff anyway? I mean, or are they censoring something that's really need to be heard?
Right, like
that's how I feel like. Okay, I ain't really need to hear that no way.
Right.
You know what I mean? But are you trying to censor something that we need? So to me, it all depends, man. I mean, I'll censor a dummy because I mean, you might that might spread into other, and create more dummies.
I mean, I think that Black people, we could have a lot more power, but right now we just don't have that organization to make certain things change. Like, if we're just like, look, we don't want music on the radio that says the N-word.
Yeah, man.
Even if it's censored, we don't want that anymore. Is it going to happen? No.
One drill song,
not immediately, but over time.
And more
when it starts affecting people's pockets, like over a longer period of time,
the only way
that is when it will ultimately change. But not because just a group of 300 people signed a petition that said like they don't want this song played anymore. Like, come on,
Right. The only way it's going to affect people's pockets is if there is organization and there's a large group of people who say we don't want this, and then people stop listening. And being that we are not the massive, we're not the majority in society, we could still make a change. I'm saying, if we get together and organize and we're on the same page about stuff, but it's just like there's a lot of work to be done. Let me just say that.
Absolutely.
The thing is, we're not supposed to try to do everything. We're not supposed to try to do everything at once, because
everyone has a job.
As I'm speaking from a person that I'm in the community. I work with community groups. I've done a lot of stuff in that regard. And the one thing I can tell you is that you can't do everything at once. Everybody ain't for every job. You see what I'm saying? We get overwhelmed thinking about the grandioseness of what it's going to take to make the change, as opposed to just a little small shit that we can do to do a little something here, a little something there. That shit goes actually a very long way. You know what I mean? And I just want us all to stop thinking that, or even stop saying that we can't do it. It's certain things that we can do.
We're just not really doing it right now.
People are doing it though.
People are literally doing it. Okay, who's the last person that like Black people got canceled on a wide scale?
The thing is, I'm gonna show you something. This is a sweet ass analogy. I'm gonna show you something. Do you remember? We remember we see what happened to Kaepernick in NFL, right? Boom, right? You see what happened to the NBA after that? They was in the playoffs games. They was in the playoffs, and they were talking about the rumors were that they were going to stop and start and just forfeit the game at the beginning of the game, or just walk off the court. It was all these rumors. The fans and the family was getting in the ears of the players. All this was going in. You know what the NBA did? They jumped in front of that shit. They said, no, we're going to give y'all everything access. There's no reason. The thing is, they take the momentum from us and do it on our behalf. And then we accept that as the thing, as that token of, well, at least they did this. But in reality, it would have been more impactful. It would have been more impactful if they just walked the hell off the court. You know what I mean? I don't care what you did. But the people, they because we don't have a full understanding of history sometimes, because we're prisoners of the moment. And this is what they do. You don't kill movements. You hijack movements. You can't kill a movement. All you can do is distract it, start talking about other shit.
Take it somewhere else, man.
And they co-opt the movement, and now you're looking at this. We had Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter turned into Me Too. Me Too turned into cancel culture. Cancel culture turned into this.
Those were different. Those were different things.
All different things. All different things. But
so, as
America has shown you, it don't give a shit about one thing at a time.
So do y'all, I mean, I'm not saying there aren't any, but can y'all think of any examples of somebody in the mainstream that Black people got canceled, that Black people came together like, look, we're not standing for this anymore, and they were canceled based on Black people?
It's sad.
Umar Johnson.
It's sad. I was just going to say, we only cancel each other.
Yep.
We canceling Dr. Umar right now because he ain't got no school.
I love Dr. Umar. What the fuck?
B-Self is like, where is the school?
I mean, but I wouldn't cancel him though. You know,
that's what I'm saying when I say that we don't have the power right now. We don't have the social infrastructure in place to do these types of things, and we should. We should.
They making moves in Atlanta. Greenwood, T.I.
I mean, there are absolutely people making moves. There are people making moves. There's always individuals. I'm not undermining anything that anyone is personally doing. Nothing. I'm not. I'm saying collectively as a group, we don't have that power right now. We don't have the power to be like, look, this is playing on the radio between the hours of noon and 8 p.m. We don't want it anymore. Let's get it stopped.
Or we're pulling
we
our
don't
dollars.
do that right now.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that power yet because
we don't have the organization right now.
We don't have the social infrastructure. Exactly. We don't have the organization. So as of now, we don't have power right there. We could, we can, but we don't. We don't. I mean, I just think that when we look at other groups and we say, man, like they're doing this, they're doing that, I always take a step back and say, if Black people could do that, would we? I'm like, we should. We should say you're not gonna make a fool and do all this stuff and portray Black people this way as, you know, all these negative things 24/7 in the media. We should step up and say no. But I think that we're so used to being in a position where this just happens that now we're mad at other groups for standing up for themselves because we haven't been able to for so long. But instead of being mad at them, we need to organize. Instead of us organizing around like, oh, these groups shouldn't do this, we should organize around, let us get together and get some of that power together so that we can decide what is acceptable and what's not in terms of our own images. Instead of getting mad at other people for doing that.
I think that's a good. Yeah, I think that's a good. I think that's what we should start the next one at.
What'd you say?
That's what we should start the next what do you call it? Podcast at.
Fight for your right to say something, not nothing. If you go fight, make sure you're saying something.
Mm-hmm.
If you go, you know what I mean? If you go fight, if you're gonna die for your words, make sure you're saying something.
I want to say
go ahead, Dubs.
Thank you guys for having me on. I love this conversation. This is something that Black people have to. You can't do these type of talks in one fucking sitting. You know, this shit goes on forever and forever. I appreciate you, ladies. I appreciate you, ladies, for doing this.
Thank you for coming on, for sure.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yes, we appreciate it. And if you want to tell me a joke, I will definitely, laugh.
That's a little 2-minute set right now. No.
I mean, you don't have to be like on the spot. You don't have to be on the spot. I mean, like throughout, the conversation, like as we continue on.
Drop a little jokey joke right now. You can.
Jokey joke.
I know you want to, Endo. Look,
but I want them to do their thing because we're gonna bring callers in and out, and I want them, I'm sure they'll get nice and funny with As you see some of
Y'all
these.
gonna bring callers on?
Yeah.
Comics are too depressed off stage. Like
So
right now,
callers, prepare yourself. If you do get roasted, it is all in good fun. Okay.
yeah.
You definitely gonna go.
Comics, if they're not on stage, they somewhere being depressed or doing some.
Tears of
This is true.
They're not somewhere
Yes.
doing being funny.
This is true. I got this hat on. I ain't got no pants on. I'm just struggling.
Wow.
Just out here.
That's information that we needed.
I'll just fucking with you. No, but
I
that
made
is
a
true,
jokey
though.
joke.
Mm-hmm.
I like a lot of satire and satirical comedy. So when we talk about like comedic, comedy and things like that, there's so many different types. And we see that, in your sitcoms and in your television and things like that. But yeah, like that sarcasm is like the best, I swear. But yeah.
His call is coming on tonight.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm actually gonna drop the link in the chat. If you do want to come on screen, you will have to be on camera.
Are they gonna come on up?
You will have to be on camera.
Yeah, they have to be on
to
camera.
come on screen.
Did you put the link in the chat?
I'm trying.
Oh man, Kayla's
JR is such a great person because he's so good at this here type of situation. But yeah, I do want callers to come on because I want to know what people think, especially about the Whoopi situation. I want to know what people think about just in general, how cancel culture has changed our culture in general. That's really important. It's affected everybody differently. So, okay. So hop on the live, come in the back channel. Like I said, if you have your camera on, that is the only way you will be able to come up. So just go ahead and have that on for us and we'll bring you guys up. But in the meantime, guys.
A little jokey joke.
Yeah, I was gonna say a little jokey joke, or let us know like where's the next place that you're performing.
Yeah,
like where can we catch you next?
I'm popping out at the Laugh Factory this Sunday, 7:00 for the Sneakerhead show. If you're in Chicago, I'll be at the Laugh Factory for the Sneakerhead show.
Nice.
Pop in and hear my tennis shoe jokes.
Okay, well everybody go see.
So safe, Planet. So safe.
Go see yourself at the Laugh Factory. What about you, Doc?
Sunday at 7. Come on.
Sunday and Saturday.
In Chicago.
This Saturday, I'm in Charlotte now. So I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I have a Valentine's Day, The Art of Love and Laughter, hosted by Doc Love.
The art of love, the art of love and laughter.
Yes. So
I like
it'll be
it.
a great time. Comedy, spoken word, erotic poetry, live art. I add a lot to my shows all the time. So
I like that. I like that.
it's gonna be dope.
Doc Love is a real romantic nigga, but he be beating women up. Like he very abusive.
Doc.
You cannot say that. You cannot say that.
I can't say that.
No, he doesn't.
For real. Look at that. They're gonna think you for real. Like what?
Yeah, I said Doc. Oh my gosh.
No,
excuse me.
I'm a loving man. I've never hit a woman in my life.
Most dudes who be romantic be low key abusive. You seen all them.
Anyway, where are you playing next, M Dubs?
Right now, shit.
Friday, I'm in Wisconsin, La Crosse, Wisconsin. Actually, Friday night at Moxie's Pub and Club. I'm out there Friday and Saturday in Wisconsin. I'm doing the damn thing. Yeah. That's
Okay.
where I'm at next.
Okay, well, definitely check out our guests, at their next play, at their next show. We have what up, DB? Mr. Ricky, how you doing?
How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Okay, yeah. So I just wanted to comment on the topic. I mean, y'all covered a lot, so I did want to just say that
What's up,
one of the big issues, or one of the biggest issues in general is, especially when you go on like college campuses, there's a difference between our understanding of reality from a scientific perspective that you find in like the STEM fields and what's found in those social areas like sociology and some psychology and everything else like that goes from postmodernist perspective. You oftentimes hear this when people talk about my truth or my truth, as if your truth is different, or there's a million different truths and everything is relative. There's only one truth. Whatever happens, whatever is factual, that's the truth. And we have an objective standard when it comes to most of the stuff, and this is science in general. But what we said was an objective fact. Jews, I don't know if that's an offensive term, but they're Caucasian. That's all there is to it. And whether it's Sephardic Jews or Ashkenazi Jews or Mizrahi Jews, it doesn't matter what they are. They're all Caucasian. That's how they've been classified in the field of anthropology. That's a fact. So she has absolutely nothing to apologize for, because what she said wasn't anything false. And if it's something that's true, how can the truth be offensive? That's ridiculous.
Wait, but there are people who are Jewish who aren't white.
The only ones who are Jewish who are not white are Ethiopian Jews. That's it. That's it. So even the Arab-looking Jews, Arabs are white. Matter of fact, even Indians with darkly pigmented skin are considered white. So if you just look up Caucasian in an anthropology textbook, they consider all of them white. And that the only you have the Caucasoid, Negroid, Mongoloid, Australoid. Those are the only 4 races, quote unquote, that's recognized in the sciences. Everyone else is amalgamation of each one of those.
So you're, if I can understand you, DB, you're saying all the ones they honor are white, but they could be other ones that practice it, but those they just don't honor them.
From their perspective, of course, you have Israelites that go around. That's a whole different topic. So the Jews don't consider them, of course, to be a part of their community. We're talking about the Jewish community as they see themselves,
and who they see them like themselves. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, they include Ethiopian Jews, so they actually have Ethiopian Jewish settlements in Israel. So they do consider them to be Jews. They're not. Those are the only Jews that aren't Caucasian. That's it. Okay. Now, these Jews, even if you consider Ethiopian Jews, were not even discovered by Western society until after World War II. So the furthest that Hitler even went in on the African continent was the areas of North Africa. And the Jews in North Africa are white. So Hitler had absolutely no contact with Black Jews, because the only Black Jews that Jewish people even recognize are Ethiopian Jews, and they discovered until after World War II. So once again, and what Whoopi was saying specifically was that it wasn't racial. The Holocaust wasn't racial. She didn't say that Nazi ideology wasn't racist or anything else like that. She said the Holocaust wasn't about race. It was about the atrocities of man against man. And she wasn't even dismissing the atrocities of the Nazis or anything like that. She wasn't trying to excuse their actions. So the idea that people could get in a tizzy over that makes no sense. So what we're seeing, though, is that Jews on liberal campuses, for the most part, or in liberal media, want to look at themselves as being a minority. They want to separate themselves from the white man, when they have the ability to blend in. And this is exactly what they did in the past when they were being discriminated against. They would change their last name, and you couldn't tell them apart. And that's how they was able to accumulate so much wealth and get as powerful as they did in finance and in Hollywood. So you can't have it both ways. You can't alter truths. It just doesn't work that way. And now you're trying to cancel a woman. And to a degree, Whoopi was kind of implicit in the cancel culture, because she's a leftist as well. So even on her View platform, she was trying to deplatform conservative voices. And I'm not conservative per se, but there's a lot of things that I have in common with them. Namely, I don't not much support, say, abortion. I'm for a woman's right.
We're gonna just not use that word. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Can we say pro-life or pro-choice or whatever like that?
The suck out. Say the suck out.
Okay. Yeah. And the primary reason why is because a disproportionate amount of Black children are being
sucked out.
Right. Yeah. And then, of course, we all know the origin, the history of Planned Parenthood and Margaret Sanger and everything else like that. She is a well-known and documented eugenicist. And that was the founder of Planned Parenthood. She was trying to destroy the Black race. That's a fact. It's well documented. So that issue, the vast majority of African Americans are Christian. The vast majority of Christians are not for this LGBTQ thing. They may have some people, some members of their family that may identify however they identify. I'm certainly not against giving anybody their rights, but going out of my way and listen, the idea
You study a lot of
that
history, huh, DB? You study a lot of history, like that's your background. Like, you know, are you a history?
I have a master's in education in science.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah. So I do study history. I study science history and everything else like that. So yeah. But yeah, so a lot of this stuff is made up, and I happen to be in a unique position because I study science, where I see the difference between scientific thought and the thought that perpetuates the rest of the campus, which is very postmodernistic, relativistic, Marxist, communistic, and all of these ideas are just bad ideas, and they should not be supported. We certainly shouldn't be supporting these ideas.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Well said,
I want to go to D Dan and try to,
Well
give all the people coming on stage some time. D, what do you think in regards to the topic, about censorship, cancel culture, and we got into entertainment and comedy as well.
Well, the Whoopi Gold situation, she got her wake up call, just like most of them do when they working in that structure. So you can't complain about that because that's their get down. But I just hope she just have a little wake up call, because for one, what she said, even though she was inaccurate, but she never said nothing that's quote unquote anti-Semitic, so, and they have to make a zap out of her like they always do. I mean, like they always do anybody else who on their platform. So that's nothing new. So the part that she's inaccurate about, and we're just gonna keep it 100 though. I'm the type of dude, I'm very unapologetic, and I do study history myself. I don't have no degree, which I don't need a degree, because all the information is documented, is all out there. We know that well, first of all, the Jewish community identified as white. Let's be clear on that. It's an article that they just dropped the article just recently on their website, how they identify themselves as white. That's the first thing first. You better understand that part of the game. Number two, they control. First of all, they built Hollywood and they control the media. They control their media. So even if you didn't say nothing bad about them or any little thing, they'll use that and flip it on you. You know what I'm saying? And they all get on, and you notice all of them got on code about it. That's another thing. So that code is more stronger. So, and it's a lot that we can learn from that. You know what I'm saying? So even though with the part of the history that she was inaccurate about, first and foremost, the Holocaust was definitely about race. According to Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler said that himself. If you really, do your research and study up on it, Adolf Hitler basically said it himself. He basically said, hey, y'all like one of us, but y'all really ain't one of us, because y'all got them Negro genes in you. So he said that out of his mouth. So, so I mean, it's self-explanatory. But we got this thing we want, but a lot of our people, we got this thing that we want to play naive or talking about, I don't believe in this and don't believe in that, and the evidence is right in your face, and everything is documented. So, just like the brother, what's his name, DB, so you was right on that. So that's all I got to say on that. I ain't got too much. I ain't got nothing else to say because I ain't really listened to the show a lot, all that. So I'm just gonna speak on that.
Well, we appreciate you coming through, sharing a little bit of something with us. Mm-hmm. Who else we got in the back?
I wish I know how to drop the link in the chat of the site that y'all actually look on.
I'll drop the link in the chat again for other people. I got you. Don't worry about that. But
I'm talking about the website. Y'all could, what I'm saying, you could read up on it, of what they really said.
You could just drop it in the general chat. Just drop it in the chat.
All right, I'm gonna drop the I'm gonna drop the website in the chat, so you can really go on their website and read how they really feel about you. that tells you everything they need, what you need to know right there. So,
Mhm.
it was nice chopping it up with y'all and continue
Yeah.
to do your thing, though.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
See you next time.
All right.
So we got Zoe. What up, Zoe? How you doing? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, y'all? Hey, Kayla. Hey, Kay. She in the background. Doc Love, DB,
He's back
What up,
there.
what up?
Self-Absorbed. I did have something I wanted to say on. I think it was Kay that brought it up. That's what I was looking for. She
Okay.
had said something about comedy, like the
Hi,
role of
Zoe.
comedy. Hey, Kay. You were talking about the role of comedy and should it be I don't know, like a sacred space, like a place where censorship is not allowed?
Oh yeah, I was asking if people thought that comedians should get more space to say certain things than other people might, based on them being comedians.
Right. I agree with that. I believe that comedians should have a space to say what. Hey, hold on a second. Where are you going? Okay. My niece is trying to get on camera.
Where's she going?
Oh.
No, she's watching The Lion King right now.
Oh, I love that movie.
No, but I was saying was I do believe that comedians should have that space. Comedy itself, like the industry, is built on things actually being funny. So if it's not funny, then people's attention aren't going to go there. They're going to go to the comedy shows, anywhere that funny actually exists. And you can't censor it because I just lost my train of thought. No, I didn't. And you can't censor it because when you laugh or when you're anxious, both of those are like involuntary reactions. So when somebody says something, you're in a space where they can technically control how you feel. They can say something. If you laugh involuntarily, then it's because it was funny. So when something is funny and you laugh at it, then you can't help that. If it makes you feel anxious, you can't help that either. But it just requires you to self-reflect. And that's what the point of comedy is for you to realize what's funny and what's not, and where you stand within that relationship. So if you can't allow a space for that in the industry, then it's just going to cause the industry to lose money because people are going there to really laugh. They're not going there to hear like PC jokes all the time. And if you want to have like, whatever I said, my niece watching Disney, like it's a set environment for it. It's a set environment for that. But if you want to actually laugh like from your stomach, then you know how to either crack jokes with your friends, or you know how to crack jokes, or you know how to listen to people crack jokes on stage. There's Eddie Griffin. There's Patrice O'Neill. There's a lot of George Carlin. I think a lot of people mentioned a lot of comedians who spoke their truth and found a way to make it funny. And that's where funny lives. That's all.
That's real. Okay.
I appreciate that.
Any responses to that?
I think it is real. I think the moment you start to censor, too much, you're gonna lose the art. Like I said before, it's art and then it's business, and sometimes those things don't intersect too well. But some of the great to do, but at the end of the day, I
Emily, lay down.
Lean towards the artistic side of things. Maybe when I'm Kevin Hart, I have different worries, but as right now,
And like I said, depending on your position, does depend on how censored you're going to be or not be. Depending on, like someone said earlier, how much you're liked, what connections you have. It's a lot of different reasons and options and ways you can be canceled. You can be canceled for something you said 25 years ago. Like there's so many different things, huh?
Like DB was just saying, like certain topics I talk on are a little bit more touchy historically, like the thing he said about Margaret and Planned Parenthood, things like that. I like to talk about those type of topics in an enlightening way, yet funny. You see what I'm saying? Without still punching down on people who are in a scenario where they need to make those choices, but still bringing light to a scenario. You see what I'm saying? So when you talk about censorship, can I crassly say something that might come off idiotic and not really fully convey what I need to convey? Or can I take the time to not censor it, but I guess you could call it a censor to make it make sense. You know what I mean? To make sure I have the biggest impact. I think there's levels to that. You know what I mean? And and for
I
those
just feel like we relied on comedy to tell us or tell it like it is. Always, you know what I'm saying? In a way that made people laugh, but for us to be able to say, you know what, that's some real shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I just feel
a
like
comic's supposed to be able to say the thing that everybody's thinking that nobody wants to say.
Yeah.
That's what
that's
people
always
want from
that's
a
the
comic.
gig.
Yeah,
That's the gig. It's to say what everybody's thinking, but nobody wants to say. But nowadays, people don't want you to say what I'm thinking. You know what I'm saying? They just don't want you to say. But so they're messing up the actual gig.
Yeah.
That I wanted to ask Doc Love a question from what he said. Like I do understand being sensitive to a topic or to somebody's I guess their struggle or whatever. But how do I put this? What is punching down really? Like how do you understand that you're punching down on someone when you're making a joke? Because the joke to be able to understand where someone's struggle is and like how low somebody is, you kind of have to have been there before to be able to even make it funny, or to even like you have to have something that relates to them for you to be able to make it funny. Like, so when Dave Chappelle, for example, was saying that, that they were calling him punching down. Nah, he said in his stand-up how he could relate to things about it, and then why he didn't want to dismiss them by trying to leave them out of the jokes. You know what I'm saying? So punching down, like, what do you mean by what do you see that as? What were you trying to say
I guess
there
what I'm
specifically?
saying is I agree wholeheartedly with what Dave said. We talked about this a little bit earlier. So I agree wholeheartedly with what he said as far as, I didn't see him punching down. I'd have missed the whole, like, I don't even know what they were offended about, really. But again, like, what I'm saying about relativity to the community, I can't really speak to that. But I can speak to my own personal experience and my own thoughts. When I talk about punching down, that's when you're trying to hurt someone intentionally with your humor. That's what I mean by punching down. It's not so much as you're trying to explore your thoughts and everything. Well, you can tell the difference. You know what I mean? You can tell when somebody's saying something to be funny or they're saying something to be hurtful, then funny. You see what I'm saying? In the golden rule in comedy, if the shit's funny, say it.
True funny does hurt.
Yeah.
It's like
If it's
man,
funny enough, it'll make
the
it
funniest
okay.
joke is the truest jokes, and the truest jokes hurt the most. Like it'd be like, say if somebody really knew you and talk about how your family didn't have no bread or whatever y'all didn't have, like y'all had roaches. Like you weren't supposed to tell them that. That's hurt. You know what I'm saying? Because it's true.
I mean, okay, right now I'm around a lot of my family here in Philly, and I'm hearing jokes from my siblings that reach back to me personally to when I was a kid. And it'd be hurting sometimes, but it'd really be funny. So I kind of like use that as ability to reflect on it, right? So to go back to like punching down, it's like what they can say can be the most hurtful things to me, but I'm sitting there thinking, and it's just like it doesn't hurt as much now as it would have if I was a child. So the pain really, to me, only represents how childish I am to feel hurt by something that is a joke. Because when you say something hurtful to hurt somebody, you like call someone out their name. When you make something that hurts somebody funny, it's kind of what helps you get over it. Because me laughing at the same jokes that they're cracking on me make me feel a certain type of way, and I'm cracking jokes too. You feel me? So it's like to me. I mean, I think I can see sensitivity within who says a joke, but because I'm using my family as an example, it kind of allows for that leeway. So that plays a part, but it shouldn't play the biggest part. What should play a part is what's funny and what's not. If it's not funny, it's not funny. But then don't laugh. Or if you feel disrespected, that's another line. I think
or don't go to
Kay
the
was
comedy
going
show.
in when she was addressing like being able to have that control of the media and say certain things can go and certain things can't go. So I mean, there's a line of respect as well. But at the same time, in the space of comedy, if it's funny, it's funny.
Yeah, but like he said, it don't come to the show.
Don't go to the show.
Comedy show. You don't go to strip clubs. You don't go to a strip club and get mad because you see some titties. You see what I'm saying? Like you got to know you came in here.
People need to, people need to man up, man. This culture is becoming too soft, and it's getting ridiculous. Where not only can a comedian not say anything, but you can't even speak true statements. You can't even have a debate to discuss an important topic if one side of the conversation is silence. This doesn't make any sense. And this, once again, it comes to that these safe spaces that you find on these college campuses where they want to wrap children up in bubble wrap so that no one can say anything to hurt them. And now it's spilling over into the mainstream. It's spilling over into the media, it's spilling over into Hollywood. It's just getting ridiculous. In a free society, we need to be free to offend other people, especially if we're trying to reach a consensus, reach an agreement, and live together and be democratic in the society. If you can't even speak about true topics because the truth is offensive, then how are we supposed to solve our problems?
DB, what is a true topic that you feel that you cannot speak about?
Oh, well, for one thing, trans women are not women, period. Biologically, is not the case. Is XX is XY. The idea that a trans woman is a woman is absurdity. And you see how this thing plays out in women's sports. They even come through with the idea that if you say that a trans woman isn't a woman, you are now transphobic. I'm not afraid of it.
I think the issue when it comes to that is that no one is saying that trans women who were assigned female at birth who were assigned trans. Wait, you said trans women? Okay, so sorry.
Wait, which is which? We gotta clarify this.
Oh yeah,
if you're a trans woman,
need to know which is which.
Man, if you're a trans woman, and you were assigned male at birth, no one is saying that they weren't biologically male. Like no one is. I don't think people are arguing that.
No, they're saying that they're women, so that they should be entitled to the same affirmative action type things that women are supposed to get, the same type of grants that women are supposed to get, that they should be able to go to New York City and change their birth certificate. So even if you check their birth certificate or their driver's license, say you was now I'm married. Now let us suppose that you went out and you was dating some woman that you thought was a woman because they do all types of weird makeup and sculpt and everything else like that. And then on their driver's license, on their birth certificate, it says that they're a woman, and it turns out they were born a freaking man. If someone has a problem with that, they're now transphobic. This is the insane Looney Tune world that we're living in right now with this PC culture, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Is that the only thing that you feel like you can't say?
No, that's not the only thing that I can't say. That's things that you can't say on the media. So conservative has been being shut down. For example, speaking of the fact that liberal welfare policies ever since LBJ came with the Great Society. Once these institutions was put into place, it more or less incentivized women to kick the fathers out of the household, with unilaterally, for the most part, destroyed the Black family. And it is the primary reason why the Black community is lacking in wealth and why marriage rates are in the toilet. And we have the lowest marriage rate throughout. You have that, that we don't talk about or is trying to be silenced. The fact that, for example, Black Lives Matter focus so much on police shooting Black people in the streets. They silence the stats that actually more white people are killed by police. And then when you factor in the fact that more Black people are committing crimes, so they have more interactions with police, proportionally, when you look at the interactions that Black people have with police, we actually get killed less often than white interactions that they have with police. So that's not being.
There's less Black people.
In terms of proportion, like you said something about disproportion. The argument there is that Black people are killed disproportionately, like at a higher rate during police interactions. I don't think what you just said was true, that white people are killed.
I can show you stats. No, I can show you the stats. No, the idea is the total number.
There are more white people. So
right, hold on, I'll give. There's 3 separate stats.
Are you saying that white people are more, like, even with the disproportion, they're still killed at a higher rate than Black people? Is that like what you're saying, or no?
There's 3 different sets. There's 3 different sets. So one is who's killed more? What raw number of individuals are killed more, whites or Blacks? It's going to be whites because there's way more whites than there are Blacks in the society. They make up 13%. They make up 16%.
What's the next
one? There's another one that says what percentage of the population is killed more? That would be Black. So even though we make less of the total number, more of us are killed. But then there's a third stat, which looks at interactions between the police and either white people or the interactions between the police and Black people. Okay, we are more policed. That means we have a disproportionate amount of interactions with the police. And when you look at that stat, it turns out that more white people actually are shot by police
You
than
know
black
what?
people.
I
If you
think
look at the
with that
interactions.
stat, if I may, I think with that stat, I think it's something that's makes this a little bit more convoluted in a sense. What interactions are the white people having? Like if you add all interactions by white cops with white people, then obviously it's going to dilute that number. It's going to change the game. They could be getting, you know what I mean? We're talking about a certain particular interactions in a certain particular demographic, you know what I mean? And that's when the proportionality comes in, that it favors, you know, the with the statistic we all know and feel and live in. You see what I'm saying? So of course there are going to be more white interactions with police because there's more white people interacting. Period. But when we talk about a certain type of interaction, that it kind of results in the disproportionality that we're talking about. You know what I mean? But I think this is what I wanted to say too, kind of to segue back to the topic before we go too far left. There are certain things that we can talk about, like you were saying, certain topics. Certain comics don't talk about those things. Certain people do. You see what I'm saying? But when in doing so, you do have to have a little bit more of a tact. You know, I am most notably known, even to this day, as being the person that was on the road with Mr. Dick Gregory for 18 months. You know what I mean? And you talk about censorship. He did not do censorship. You know what I mean? And I saw how it worked and didn't work, but it always really worked because of his stature in the game. He would talk about those things, whether it's you know, pro-life, pro-choice, politics, black community, fathers being going out the house. He would talk about those things. Subsequently, I talk about those same things in my company. You see what I'm saying? But there is a certain level of you don't want to get shut down before you get your whole thought out. That's what I'm saying about when I speak to censorship. I want to say what I have to say to you about how I think that black fathers being removed from the home is the result. We're living the result of that, which kind of manifests itself in rapid gun violence. That's my thought. How do I get you to that understanding? It's going to take a little bit of finesse. You see what I'm saying? To get you to that space. That's all I'm saying. So.
No, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm just saying, like, when it comes to, and that could even come, and like I said, I'm not a Republican. I don't vote Republican. I haven't, you know, I don't vote Republican. I certainly didn't vote for Joseph Biden, and so I did not do that. But what I'm saying is that
Joe been out here working hard.
No, that dude is see now. Anyway, anyway, what I'm saying is that yeah, we could cancel ourselves. So we may not cancel each other in the larger community, but there are black voices like Candace Owens get canceled more or less in the black community, or there are conservative voices that get canceled, and I think that's you know, that does us as a community a disservice, especially if we're trying to look at solutions. And I think, for example, now KS, he kicked down the door. He was trying to get canceled, Kevin Samuels, and he was talking about the root of the problem. Number one, those, like I said, those radical postmodernist ideologies that you find on college campuses. This also includes this later iteration of feminism, this third wave, fourth wave feminism, whatever you want to call it, which is predicated off of that Marxism, postmodernism, and everything else like that. He also talks about those welfare policies that kick father out of the household. He was like new to the, I mean, when he was laying out those arguments, I mean, he wasn't the first to say it, but people was trying to get him canceled left and right. He was just able to push his voice out there. And now it's like, this is the first time we actually talking about these issues. And that's why I appreciate him, because he actually shined a light on it. Oh yeah, Woon was trying to get him canceled ever since that world star. Yeah, Black Moon was trying to get Kevin Samuels canceled since Warsaw. So with that average that does that.
Were they successful?
No, they weren't successful because he built his own platform. And that was the same thing with Fresh and Fit. Fresh and Fit made a you know, off-putting joke, and they was trying to gun for them, but they, you know, they already built their platform, so it was fine. They just so happened to be on YouTube, which YouTube have its own policies of the things that you can't say, and if you know, refrain from saying those things, you're fine. So they were good.
YouTube actually, I think, encourages certain things to be said. I think they push certain things and narratives and whatnot, especially about Black people, to the front of the line in terms of certain things. And, you know, I put something in the back. Hopefully you read it, DB. But like that thing you said about Black people and the police and the killings, Black people are definitely more likely to be killed by the police, like, than white people.
Yeah.
Well,
Now,
that's
in terms of the likelihood, because I just saw you said that was like a fact that you can't say, and the thing is, it's not a fact.
I can give you the data. If you could, is there any way you could send me like an email or something like that? I can give you the statistics.
I gave you the data in the back from a reputable.
You said the back where? What is that?
In the chat.
DB,
in the chat.
Post what you got in the chat. So
okay. Hold on one second.
But DB, like,
What's that?
I just don't understand when people want to fight to say that even just common sense wise, the police were the first
slave catchers.
Yeah, certainly.
Common sense wise, this is not something that should be getting argued. I don't understand. I mean, I know we got a long way to go and we're not really on the same page in terms of a lot of stuff. But the fact that people even argue this with all the information, all the proof, all of the historical just facts, all of the things that have happened is just, I mean,
right. Quick. We know the history of how the police started, but there is no Western society that doesn't have a police force. So there's police in Canada, there's police in all throughout Europe and everything else like that. So irrespective of how it started, there's such a thing as police force, and it's necessary.
Okay, and that's understandable. But the thing is, though, that we're talking about the U.S. criminal justice system. We're talking about American policing in USA.
Yeah. So here's what I would do, right?
And that's a different topic than like policing in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands or something. Like, that's a different. I mean, people have their different struggles, different places, but right now we're talking
Canada is more multicultural than America is. I would say this, that we're arguing the wrong point. It shouldn't be to defund the police, especially when you look at the amount of crime that does take place.
No one here said anything about that.
Okay, so that's what? Canada is more multicultural than the United States. So they actually have more minority populations.
What does that mean?
So what does that have to do?
You said contrary to the Netherlands, because you said in reference to the Netherlands, which is
I was just giving any place, just to say.
Okay. I thought that was your point. I may have misunderstood you.
Just to say.
What I'm saying is that the real argument should be not to necessarily defund the police, but it should be who are we voting in at the local level for police chiefs in those instances, district attorneys, who are we voting in, and why aren't there more Black police officers that are policing Black communities? That has a sense.
So you do see that there is an issue.
Of course, but the
then
point.
What were you arguing earlier when you said that white people were? I'm just
no. We always have to fix the system. So, what
the system is broken.
No, the system ain't broken.
Oh, okay. So you came off a totally different way.
No. I'm just saying that information is not being pushed. So there's other people that were trying to make the point in their silence. There was other people who tried to make that point that Black Lives Matter, but that goes against their talking points. So they're silenced. And Black Lives Matter happen to be very popular in the media right now, especially on the left. So I
think, if I may interject, because I know I can see K face and I can see where y'all at in this argument. The triggering part was when you brought up the numbers about it being the disproportionate murdering by police to Black people. I mean, police to Black people. Yeah. And I'm sure you got information, like you said, you got data. She has some. I have tons of it. It's a really good book about it. The 13th by Michelle Alexander. It's it's going to be a lot of information out there. Maybe
the new Jim Crow that she wrote.
Maybe there should be some conversation about the censorship of misinformation. You know what I mean? Because that's also a very dangerous tool. You know, but I guess to bring it back to what we were discussing earlier, it's a lot of different things, a lot of different elements that's going on right now in our community, and where we should start with. And again, I go all the way back to me and Kay was saying earlier. It is going to start with the organization, you know, and once you're organized, that's the thing. Martin Luther King did not get killed because he was out here, you know, preaching whatever he was preaching at the time. That's not what got him killed. When you look at it and you look at the history, what got him killed was the fact that he saw the power and realized the power in organizing. And he met with someone who was going to radicalize that organizing, which happened to be Malcolm X. Then when that meeting happened, the clock started ticking. Now you got to go. My point in making that statement is to say that it's the organization is what we're needed. And what happens to us so often, we get bogged down with emotional arguments about ourselves, and we get bogged down with things that are like what Mr. Griggs always say. We always get caught arguing about the leaves of the issue and never get into the root of an issue. And we get distracted because we be emotional. And people know that about us. The powers that be know that. Something could be going on, they could drop something in there. We all start scrambling talking about this. We done forgot that we supposed to be focused on this main thing. And that's why to bring it back full circle, back to censorship, you're gonna always miss that thing unless you're being raw with it. You can be raw and hit those nerves and have those talking points and get those things out there. Do I feel like there's a way to say it? Yeah. But I think in the truth of it, the truth shouldn't be censored. That's what I would say that. If it's true shit, it shouldn't be censored. But normally that is the thing that triggers people. When you say something that's too true, that's when people get mad. You know what I mean? But I'll leave it at that, though.
Absolutely. And definitely we need to organize more. My only concern is that if we go about it through an emotional perspective and we're not looking at it from a factual perspective, then the things that we're going to be arguing for and fighting for is going to be for what? It essentially be a waste of time. We'll be throwing all of our efforts at a losing proposition. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. So if we can identify the source of our problems, like we can look at the GI Bill, we can look at redlining, we can look at destruction of the nuclear family, we can see these issues and we can identify what the sources for why, because when it comes to income, we're not that far off from white people, but when it comes to wealth, which is generally first accumulated by first owning a home, and the best way to, of course, own a home, if we look at the actual things that can actually help us out, and that's the things that we're talking about, then we can actually move in a direction that actually is going to benefit us. But if we're doing emotional shows and we're rioting and we're not talking about the actual issues that affect us, then we're wasting our time here. It's like, what's the point of being organized if we're not doing anything that's going to be impactful?
Oh, yeah. Once you effectively organize the right way, then you won't have those, because you'll have people saying, we're not paying attention to that. You know what the problem, you know who said some of those real true shit, which is kind of sad to say she even said it, was Candace Owens. Candace Owens said, Black people, we are too emotional. We're responding from emotions, and that is why we can't get ahead. She's literally said that on the panel in Atlanta. T.I., Killer Mike, David Banner. It was a really good panel. I hope y'all seen it. I forget what the hell it was called. But anyway, she was speaking to the fact that we can't get any legislation crossed because we keep getting distracted by emotional things. And the truth is the truth no matter who the fuck says it.
And we keep celebrating.
I don't want to hear about no Candace Owens.
We keep celebrating symbols and caricatures of winning when nothing happens. And then things can happen in the Asian community and legislations pass in 60 days. But things just continuously happen to us over and over again. And there's no law, like no legislations put in place, not even like to be voted on.
Well, we don't leverage our vote. So if we tend to unilaterally just vote Democratic irrespective of what they do for us, then it's a waste. Like I said, half of the policies that Democrats champion, I don't. Now I do for the most part on some economic issues, but for the most part, I don't even agree with them. But for the last 30 years or whatever, I've been voting Democratic. Why? Because historically, that's what I've done. That's what my mother always did. That's what my father always does. Mm-hmm. And I've gotten to the rut of just doing that.
But do we understand? Let me ask you this. Do you understand, do we all understand on this panel that until people start voting Republican, until the Democrats have to work for your vote, they're not going to do shit for you.
Exactly. Or just go independent. If you don't want to go the Republican route.
Democrats say those same things, and then yet they keep letting the same things happen election after election after election, just like Joe is here doing none of the stuff that he said he was going to be doing, and y'all were happy.
Joe doing everything he said he's going to do.
You know what? I just heard something that Doc said. Doc said black people, and people always say that black people are too emotional or overly emotional, or just, how do you be a great people without having those emotions? How do you create the art we create? How do you create the things that we create without those emotions of black people? So I don't mind black people being having those emotions. I would want us to be more focused.
Artistically, yes.
You know what I'm saying? No, I'm gonna say I be more.
No, those emotions are a special sauce.
But our emotions are who we are.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
But do you understand that? Do you understand that if you're emotional, that means you are also easily manipulated?
No, and I understand that, but but that's when the focus comes in, because it's no problem being emotionally focused, or what I'm saying, or I just personally think we need to be. It's going to be difficult to say remove the emotion out of black people.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying political. What I'm saying in the political space, as it relates to politics, organizing,
be more disciplined.
Be less easily swayed.
I would like to use the word reactive, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
That's
a way better word, because reactive has to do with what you can do versus emotional. You can't really dictate. Oh, I'm so emotional. No, what's missing from the emotion is the structure that channels that emotion in the right place. That's why there's groups in America that when you say something and they're being sensitive about it, they shut shit down.
They're emotional.
Their emotions are driving that. To say being too emotional is one thing, but to say put up more structure that's going to allow us to be able to express that emotion in a productive way, that's a different thing. And
I think that's a better term to use.
Anger is an emotion. And
we have to remember emotions aren't just feelings of sorrow and all of that. Emotions are anger. Emotions are all of those other things that people forget when they say, "Oh, being emotional and making women emotional." But like being angry, being reactive, things like that. Those are emotions.
Well, let me ask you this: what's the opposite of emotional?
Logical. But what I would say is
logical. Logical is the opposite of emotional. Am I correct?
What did you say?
I don't know.
Logic is the response to emotion. Logic is
the response to emotion. That's the
opposite. The opposite of emotional is indifferent. Indifference is the opposite of it being emotional.
Exactly. I don't think we should push the narrative that you can't be logical and have an emotion. Like, you can come home mad and still get done what you need to get done. Like, we can't act like just because someone has an emotion, and like Kayla said, it's not just being sad and crying or having sorrow, feeling feelings of sorrow. There are all types of emotions, and I don't like when people kind of make it into a thing where it's like either you're emotional or you're logical, and it's like, no.
Well, that's because
you can absolutely make a logical decision and be emotional. If someone breaks into your house, you're going to be emotional, but you can make that decision to do what you need to do to protect yourself and your family. So just because
by definition, the opposite of emotional is logical.
No. Let me amend it. The opposite of emotional would be stoic. Now, if you're stoic, you're more likely to make a logical decision. Emotions tend to get in the way of making logical decisions. So the opposite of emotional is stoic.
When you Google what's the opposite of emotional, it pops up and says logical.
DB, if somebody breaks into your house, you're unable to make a good decision about what to do next because you have emotions running through you.
Well, no, you want to calm down. So what you don't want to do is
you don't have time to calm down. You're in a situation where someone's breaking into your house, and there are people that are going to harm you.
If you're a trained soldier, the idea is to not panic, not become emotional.
You don't think people's hearts beat fast when somebody breaks in? You don't think
Yeah,
there's
the
a
idea is to
difference
suppress
between
that.
They still feel it. They still feel it.
The idea is to suppress that. If you ever been in a fist
Oh
fight,
my
you know,
goodness.
you have a rush of adrenaline. You feel everything flowing through your body. You may be scared or whatever like that. You will get your head beat off.
That's an emotion.
Yeah, you get your head beat off if you walk into a fight like that.
Yeah.
You're
Okay,
supposed to push that
you may
down.
be scared. You said you may be scared, but you have to what? Push through that and do what you need to do, right?
Or you could be feeling anxious.
You have to.
That's
Yeah,
feeling anxious as well.
Huh?
That's an emotion.
But all of those things, all of those things
What
are
I'm
not
saying
gonna
is that.
help you.
Yeah,
But no,
what I'm
I
saying
read
is,
here the opposite does say, it says right here that the actual opposite for emotional is apathetic or cold.
Apathetic, yeah.
well, I would say stoic. You know, those have negative connotations. Now, logic is often looked at as being the opposite, but logic is more along the lines of using your brain as opposed to just having an emotion. So if you really want to give something that's on equal footing with an emotion, you would have to say the absence of emotion. And a word that best captures the absence of emotion.
Well, let me ask y'all this question then. Since we are embracing the term of being emotional, right? And we're saying all these attributes about it. What other group is emotional, and how has that being emotional impacted, or the lack of them not being emotional benefited?
I think the lack of fathers, the fact that so many of us are born without fathers, is the reason why our community seems to be disproportionate.
No. What I'm saying, that's not my question. What I'm saying is that if we are considered to be the emotional group of people, right, that means there has to be a counter to that. There's a different group that's not emotional, whether it's whites or whatever.
I don't agree that we are an emotional group of people. I don't think that the people who was building kingdoms, the Songhai Empire, the Egyptian Empire, the Malian Empire, I don't think these people were emotional people. These were smart, intelligent people.
Come on, let's stop dehumanizing people. All groups of humans have emotions, and that's why
I think it's the job of the men of any community.
Hold on, DB, 1 second.
Be stoic and logical.
I'm not saying we're going to remove emotion from us as a people. What I'm saying is our decisions in politics cannot be based off emotion.
Right, Doc,
they have to be based off logic and results.
I agree with
instead of how
we're on the same page, Doc Love. The thing that we said that I don't know if you were giving pushback to was that having a
aren't emotional or don't. I mean, come on.
Now, I would even say that the reaction to Whoopi wasn't even emotional.
So logic is the response to the emotion. It's not the opposite; it's the response, because the logic creates a structure that allows you to move in a direction according with that logic that creates a positive or productive answer. So to say like one is the opposite of the other, or one is the response to the other, is two different things. Like the opposite of emotion is indifference, is apathy. The answer to emotion is logic. So if my girl being emotional, I don't have a girl. If my girl being emotional though, I'll tell her.
Why'd you have to say that? Why'd you put out a dating ad?
No.
It's gonna be no. Okay, I thought you were trying to get somebody in the audience to no. Okay.
He wanted them in the audience to know that he was still
on the market, y'all.
Nah, I'm not in the market. I'm just discipline. That's me. That's me right now.
See, y'all
the point I was making was like, if I tell my girl like when she's being emotional, something, what I'm going to tell her is something that's going to make her think sensibly. You know what I'm saying? It's because I'm bringing her logic. So
that's
logic is the
right there. I'm trying to tell you
what happened.
That's gonna keep you single right there. You can't speak when people being emotional. Sometimes you gotta let them be.
You gotta. I'm saying bring the logic. Like, well, if you're not in a relationship, whatever. If you is,
because sometimes, especially certain women can overthink, or just people in general. Because my cousin does it too, and he's a dude. Can just overthink situation and start getting emotional based on like some made up something in their head about how they think the situation might go, and sometimes a little bit of a logical like, hey, blah blah blah, and bring some logic back to it. Is very helpful. In a lot of
very emotional.
So.
And I would say, like, even looking at the situation with Whoopi, just to bring it back full circle, I don't think the Jewish community was actually being overly emotional when they reacted the way they did. I think they actually moved with logical foresight. They knew the history of anti-Semitism, so they were sensitive to that. When they got any hint of it, they moved in lockstep fashion in a unified way to cut it off at the root. just in case that type of sentiment will go out there. So that wasn't even an emotional response. That was a logical reaction to what happened to them in the past, and trying to cut that thing off at the source before it gained any traction. So that's thinking using forethought. Is quite an intelligent reaction. Now, I don't agree with it because what she said wasn't was factual. So it was factual, and I don't think that was her intention. But that wasn't an emotional response. That was an organized, logical reaction to cut off any hint of anti-Semitism if it potentially reared its ugly head. And that's like, if we had an organization like that, then and they make up a very small minority in the American population, but they have a significant, a disproportionate amount of control.
So if someone gets fears for their life in an interaction with an unarmed person, would you say that person is emotional, DB?
Well, they definitely have a swell of emotion, certainly fear. Well, here, I'm saying yes, but I'm saying is going to have, especially initially, they're going to have a significant amount of conflicting feelings and fears. They may begin to panic. But if you want to move in an appropriate response, then the idea is to actually control your emotions. So it's not, you don't want to fall into your emotion and start panicking, run around and scream and get shot in the back. What you want to do is actually control your reactions, try to find ways to exit, or if you happen to have a weapon on yourself, to get in a defensive position and probably. So these, and when you approach a situation or you get into a situation that's outside of your control, anyone is going to have an emotional response. But it's the job of the individual, and you get this through training, you try to suppress that so you can make the most logical decision possible.
You can be scared and make a logical decision.
But you cannot make your best decision while you're scared.
That's saying this.
Well, then I feel sorry for y'all
Yes,
in any high pressure situation where you're scared. If somebody
you do it while you're afraid, even.
You do it.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask y'all this.
Do what the heck you have to do in the moment.
Y'all are gonna what?
If we talk,
you just need to create a range.
Let me ask you a question.
You can't make your best decision at your most emotional, but you can still make a decision.
Has anybody here been in?
My goodness.
Has anybody ever? I'm gonna ask you this.
Well, maybe y'all can't make decisions while you're scared.
Well, I'm gonna show you this. Since we're comics, I'm gonna
can't make the best decision.
I'm gonna use an example for you as a comedian. As a comic, every time you hit the stage, you're nervous. It does not matter where you are. If it's 10 people, 10,000, you're nervous every single time. Over time, you learn to control that nervousness and actually to use it to your advantage through practice and repetition. But it's always there. Now, if you were to get on stage, you're not going to respond the same way that I do.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? If I get on stage, Chris Rock going to be able to do it way better than I do. You see what I'm saying? To handle his emotions. So what I'm saying is that when I Googled emotional, the opposite of emotional is not apathy. That's also an adjective or something. It is logical. You know what I'm saying is that anybody who's performing has that anxiety, have to overcome. Anybody who has, if you have been in a fight, the number one way to get your ass knocked out is to be emotional. The number one way to get your ass whooped in a fight is to lose and start being emotional. You have to think logically. You're not going to make your best decisions at the height of your emotional apex. You're just not.
You got to still your nerves and plan and think about your next move and use foresight. And if you're emotional, you're panicking and you're consumed by your emotion, you're not going to make the best.
You know what? I get what y'all are saying in a perfect world, and oh my goodness, somebody's breaking in. Let me calm down, and I'm not gonna, and I'm just gonna remain calm and just figure out what I'm gonna do. No, I'm gonna be scared, and then I'm gonna be scared, and while I'm still scared, I'm gonna do what I need to do to protect myself. Like, I don't get this whole you can't be scared and make a good decision.
Yes,
no, I'm saying you can't make the best decision.
This may be it may have something to do with biology here. This is why men are the protectors, and we're supposed to be the protectors of our community because we're built for that.
There's a reason why fear is a thing that people have. It is ingrained in humans. It is there for a reason. People
firefighters still running into fires, and police officers still running the gunfights, and soldiers still run out onto the battlefield. We're trying to suppress those fears, and we seem to have a natural proclivity to be able to do it faster. Because I mean, I wouldn't have thought it was the case necessarily, but it's like you cannot fathom that we have the capacity to do that. And what I'm saying is that we do.
DB, the thing is not to suppress it. The thing is to match it with more reason and more logic. It's not to suppress it or to say that you're not going to feel what you feel. Like the example about comedy is a good example. You're nervous every single time, but you have reason to not be nervous. You have the fact that you've been doing it for a while to go against that same fear that everyone has. I think even Dave Chappelle said that he still feels nervous when he goes on stage. So it doesn't go away. The emotion is still there in its entirety. It's what you have to go against it that that matters. So the two things standing in opposition to each other, logic and emotion, are in opposition to each other. They're not whatever Doc Love said. Like the opposite of emotions is apathy and indifference, but the answer to emotion is logic and structure and reason. I think that'll clarify, unless you guys feel like something different.
I think maybe when I'm thinking about this, maybe we're thinking about different things, because I'm trying to understand. So I get what y'all are saying. If we're talking about, you're mad, someone did something, now you go home and you're all stewing and you're emotional.
Yeah, what's the point of that?
And then you go do something silly. I get that. That can absolutely happen, and that is not a good thing to do. I guess I'm saying that people can be have emotions and still make logical decisions in certain situations. But I do understand, if this is what y'all are saying, that if you're dwelling on things and you're just emotional about it and you're stewing in your own whatever, it can cause you to make a bad decision. I mean, I think that's true as well. But I just don't like when people act like you cannot make a logical decision while you're scared.
I'm gonna say you're gonna make a
those
logical
are probably
decision.
some of the most important times for you to be able to make a sound decision. Those times where you are in that fight or flight
exactly
mood, and like, what should I do right now at this moment? I literally have like 2 to 3 seconds to make a choice. Exactly. And I think those really say a lot about you as a person, and your readiness just in general as an adult.
But you have to have that. What I'm saying is that experience. I can tell you, as a person that's been in it, has been in things, and when you come out of them, the first thing you sit back and do is like, damn, what I should have did with this, but I didn't do this because I wasn't thinking clearly, because I was emotional. That's the difference. That's the difference. The number one thing I used to do when I used to get in fights, I used to step back and spit in their face. You know why? Because I know you finna spaz. And the moment you spaz,
that puts them on.
Now I done cleaned you all up. I'm over here calculated 3 steps ahead already, waiting for your reaction, waiting to see how your feet move, waiting to take this step, waiting for you to reach out on anger.
Let me know.
Yeah, but but I think the reason why I responded,
you're not making it out of that situation.
But do you understand? Yes, but you so mad, you're gonna wake up like, what happened to dude who spit on me? He gone. He at the crib. He pieced you up 2 times and walked off. Because your heart rate elevated, your mind spazzing. I can't believe. And that's what they do to us as black people so many times. They spit in our face, and we so busy trying to react, they knock our ass out and be on to the next thing.
Yeah, but what I think I was primarily
disgusted with you, Doc Love.
You said what?
Really disgusted with you. You make a good point, but I'm disgusted with you.
The point I was railing against is
actually. So
the point I was railing against is the narrative that we are a people more emotional than other groups of people. I find that offensive. We are the same as other groups of people. That was like the same argument.
I find it to be true.
DB, you said earlier, if you look at the Asians, I don't know what group you said, but you said somebody, and I said, let's not dehumanize.
No. I was saying, well, yeah, I was saying, like, if you look at past achievements, the Malian Empire, the Song, those are black people. Yeah, the Malian Empire, that's in West Africa. Songhai is in West Africa. These are African empires I'm talking about, and I'm saying like if you look at these people, these is us. This is the stock that we come from. We
But
built
nobody's
empires.
saying, no one is saying, for the record, no one's saying remove emotion from us as black people, because that's literally impossible. You know
No,
what I
I'm
mean?
saying
But
that
politically, and as it comes to organizing, we have to be more logical than anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the notion that we as a people are more emotional, like I said, is incorrect. And that this perception, I think, does us as a community a disservice. And it may stem from the fact that I saw in the chat where it seems nowadays that there are not a lot of male leaders that stepping forward and actually trying to push the community. So that may have given that impression. I don't know. I don't want to make a broad generality. I definitely want to offend anyone else. But that, I don't know. But I do hear that. I do hear that narrative pushed, and I don't think that's the case. Whereas logical and as intelligent as any other group of individuals, and if they were able to organize and move in a coordinated fashion to get the resources and accumulate the wealth that they were able to, then there's nothing biologically or inherently different about us that's preventing us from doing the same thing.
There's a great speech by Marcus Garvey called "Up, Ye Mighty Nation." You should read that speech. It's a really powerful speech. But in the speech, to paraphrase, he's basically saying that all these other nations were able to come together and do all this. He said, surely if they did it, Lord knows that we can do it. But it's a really great speech. It's one of my favorite people ever in history, and it's a hell of a speech too.
DB, I got a question for you.
May have to check that out.
Oh, I want to see what Dr. Panelist was going to say.
Yeah, let's see what Dr. Panelist says. Make
I'll ask
sure
my question later if I
everybody
remember.
gets their fair share of time, because we're winding down. So what up, Dr. Vander?
Once again, I say something. Y'all ain't going to like it. Black people are emotional. There ain't no community. Doesn't exist. Hasn't existed in about 40, 50, 67 years.
That's a big gap.
Done. Community meaning like identity, norms, culture, all that type of stuff. Black people don't even accept other black people. Come on, man. Talking about where are these male leaders running from this fake thing called a community? Jumping. I consider myself an independent contractor. This that they doing over there, that they call a community, that ain't me.
No, I hear you, man. I see your frustration. I think that there's steps that could be made. Yeah,
that's what it is. Men who have a platform are saying a lot of the same thing. They're jumping ship, or they're just keeping quiet and are hiding in bunkers, or just saying, "Look, man, y'all go ahead and do what y'all do over there. They ain't listening. They ain't producing. Y'all go and do your thing over there."
I understand.
But if a black man leads,
how I feel. Oh, go ahead.
Lead who? That means people got to follow, right?
No, I'm saying if the black man is leaving and trying to go and be independent and whatever and leaving the community, then what does that leave for the community? Because that's kind of how we got here in the first place, the exodus of black males from the household. That's kind of that 40 to 50 years ago, to use your timeline exactly. That'll put us back in 1960, 70, 80. Yes,
right.
70s, 80s.
Somehow there's this fake narrative that white men went and kicked the door and dragged black men and said, y'all get out your households.
That's not the narrative. I'm just only using the narrative. I guess you can use the things that we already historically know, as far as, the war on drugs and the COINTELPRO and, all the different programs that are set up to replace you as a man in your household and to incentivize your woman not to even deal with you.
But it's the
all
same
those things
program.
are factual things.
But the same program for whites, Jews, Asians, Hispanics, they even deported and took them in and put them in other countries. They had to sneak back in. Why?
They're not marginalized in this country, and they're also not the people who
got some kind of community, and black is like.
But what decimated the black community? The only thing that we went through those other races and groups and didn't go through is the fact that we were slaves on this soil. That's the thing.
Nah, that goes too far back. I think that definitely we felt the negative impact of the Great Society, and it could have been with the best of intentions, but the welfare policies that came out with the Great Society pretty much encouraged single parentism. We had that. On top of that, we did get smacked in the face soon after with the crack epidemic. So now you have people who are addicted, who had a chance to get a government check to feed their addiction by making sure that the Black father was out of the house. So that's the only thing different from our communities than other people's communities, because everyone could have took welfare benefits for the most part if they was below a certain socioeconomic level. But a lot of other cultures didn't choose it. We seem to have chosen that route at a rate higher than other communities. And the only difference that we faced that other communities didn't face was the crack epidemic at the time.
And I'm gonna say this: I gotta go. But I do want to say this before I leave. One thing that's always left out of this narrative, yes, with all that is true, what you and I both have just said. But the thing that, especially as I'm living in it now, is this: we were also forced to be raised by single parents. You see what I'm saying? And now we just raised a whole generation of kids, and we are the generation of kids in general who don't know what it's like to live in a household with two parents. And that's going to breed a certain mentality and also a different kind of struggle as we go forward. But I got to go, y'all. I love y'all.
Forced to be raised by single parents.
Thank you, Doc, for coming on.
Always, man. Hit me back.
Yes, yes.
Please.
Forced to be raised by single parents?
I wouldn't say forced, but certainly...
that's an option.
Yeah, it's an option between two people. Yeah, that's certainly the case. But we're not giving people an effective strategy in order to, rebuild the community. Like, for example, what I tell the young ladies in my family, I tell them the best thing you should do, the thing that you should be thinking about, and it's the feminist movement too that pushed it too, because it pushed women into careers and waiting later and later before they got married, when of course it's less likely for them to have children. They have a time clock. You know what I mean? A biological time clock. So I'll tell the young females in my family, I say, hey, when you go to college, you should be looking for your husband in college. And you should, while you in your undergraduate, you should be looking for somebody in the graduate program.
Did you find your wife in college?
No. I found my wife later on.
So it worked out well for you to...
Yeah, absolutely. I just said a general strategy. So, of course, everybody had different situations. Like my grandmother had 7 kids, 6 girls, 1 boy. None of them in wedlock, got married in the 50s and stayed with my step-grandfather for the most part, the only grandfather I knew, for about 30 plus years before they passed away. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's situation is different. What I'm saying is just a general strategy that you can use.
Just look while you're young.
Yeah. Look while you're young, have your babies early. And then while your husband is going through his career, then, you could raise your young kids. And by the time they get to kindergarten, preschool, then you should be looking to re-enter the workforce if that's something that you want to do, just to stack more money for your family. So that would be the best strategy that I would recommend young women do, is get married early, knock your kids out early, then focus on your career, as opposed to doing it the other way around, because you got a time clock. You know what I mean? And what that would do in and of itself would strengthen the Black community, just trying to use that strategy. There's certain things, there's certain narrative that we can be pushing. I could think of a program that we can use, for example, to encourage marriage. It would be like a nonprofit organization I'm thinking about. Now I'm building up my business, but as I become more successful in my business and I have more time to spare, I would certainly set up a nonprofit organization that would essentially be buying up homes and incentivizing people to get into these programs by essentially a lease option agreement. Like I would only allow married couples to do a lease option where they would get the home from me, they move in, they build their credit so they can could qualify for a mortgage.
So
and
incentivizing that.
Incentivize marriage, yeah, but I would only do it for married couples. Yeah, so if you're married, you could qualify for it, and I would go to various churches and let them know about the program. So that's something, and I would, take on investors for a program like that. We have to incentivize marriage because it all begins with the strength of the nuclear family. You can't have a community if you don't have a nuclear family. So you need that.
Communities are built on strong families.
That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. So I think those are the type of conversations that we should be having if we want to strengthen. And then I do appreciate what the Lapeef Network is doing, because you create your own platform. But on top of that, you can actually build your own streaming platform, like how they built Twitch, how you got YouTube. You guys just build your own. You don't have to worry about being censored. You know what I mean? So if you have your own, put in various services and stuff like that, and then you get to censor whatever you want to censor. You can push whatever image that you want to push. And from my understanding, it's not that expensive. You probably get everything sorted with about $10,000. So these are some of the things that I'm looking into. Like I said, I'm building my own business first, so I have to do, make sure my pockets is right first, and make sure that's situated. But I definitely want to move in the direction of putting together nonprofit organizations and building communities, building networks to really effectively solve some of our issues. But we do have to have the conversation, because if we're not talking about the right talking points, then we're essentially wasting our time. You know what I mean?
Facts. That's good stuff, DB.
Yeah,
So we're gonna go ahead and get our final thoughts. That was some good ones for DB already. But what about you, Panderson? What final thoughts do you have for the night?
Go to the gym. That's it.
You went to the gym? That's excellent. We're glad that you're doing that.
No, I'm saying people go to the gym.
Okay. All right. Well, Black people work out. All people work out. Great. Great. Being fit is great. That's important. Zoe, any last words for the night?
No, just thank you guys for having me again. I appreciate the conversation. It was pretty cool. Yeah,
You're
I mean,
always
comedy
welcome.
as far as censorship goes shouldn't be touched. Other things, maybe there's more regulation that should be had, with respect to however it's supposed to be regulated, but comedy should be untouched. That's my main point. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you. Thank you for always supporting. See you next Monday.
Yes, appreciate the support. Self-absorbed.
Well, you know what? I just want to say
night.
All things change. Comedy changes. What people expect of you changes. What people expect of other changes. The world changes. The way we communicate changes. The way we perceive each other changes. So it's just, are you going to adjust to the changes, or are you going to stay in the old world? Because there's a new world order, and the new world order says you can't say that shit. So the final thought is just saying, what world are you going to fight to be in? Because there's clearly, several. So, what reality will you fight to be in? Because everybody's.
Are you going to fight to be in the metaverse?
You know what? I want to do a comedy show in the metaverse. They're going to have comedy clubs and whatnot, and
that's
you're going to do comedy in the metaverse.
You see that comment right there, B Self?
Listen,
where is our jokey joke? You're not about to get out of here without.
No,
we need at least one. You ended up being the last person on, so it fell on
because the thing is, I'm so emotional. Honestly, y'all, like I'm going through it. Like I'm telling y'all, like I just came from the hospital, right? My grandma.
No.
Listen, I'm telling y'all, just listen. My grandma in the hospital. Just give me 2 seconds. My grandma's in the hospital, and she, and it's what's going on in the hospitals right now, and it's just. So I'm with her, and just like I'm trying to like distract myself my best. I'm on my phone, right? They got it hooked up on all these machines and stuff, and I'm on my phone distracting myself. And she looked at me and she said, "You know what, Brian? Your generation relies too much on technology, And I looked back at it, I said, "You know what? No, Grandma, yours does." And I unplugged all her shit because she shouldn't be talking shit, but the main thing is
what? Oh my God! I'm feeling sorry for you.
I know that was a bullshit joke.
I literally was almost halfway feeling sorry for you.
I felt bad asking you about the jokey joke.
I'm sorry. That was stupid. I shouldn't even did that. Because y'all was pressuring me.
You know what? I hope
we were pressuring you, huh?
Factory, you know what? Just save what you have for the Laugh Factory.
I'm sorry. That was like a joke I wrote in the 6th grade too. That's a 6th grade joke.
6th grade. Oh my goodness, I can't.
That is a little bit dark for sixth grade, don't you
that's
think?
not sixth grade. It wasn't no cell phones in sixth grade, girl.
Yes, it was. That's
Well,
when I
for
got
some of
my
us,
first.
yeah. For some of us, it was. Yeah, for some of us, it was. Was this cell phones in UK at 6?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not at 6. You said sixth grade.
Yeah,
You didn't say
sixth grade.
sixth.
Sixth grade, you're 11.
I got my first
Middle
phone in
school,
sixth
there were
grade. I was
definitely
11
cell
years
phones.
old.
Word. All right.
Be self, I can't.
I'm sorry.
You said, oh, okay, all right.
Final thoughts?
You are hilarious. Oh my goodness.
It's comics can't tell jokes on the spot. We don't have on the spot jokes.
I get it.
You gotta have your cologne on, your right clothes on, your right shoes on.
But you're just a funny person. Like, just, one of those people that you're around and that's just naturally funny. And honestly, everyone that was here today is like that. Like Clark is like that. You're like that.
Clark said a lot of heavy stuff. Clark said a lot of before he left. Just real enlightening stuff. DB, it was just some good. I sat back and just listened. It's just like, just took some of it in. I want to come back on when you guys do a ratchet topic though.
Ooh,
you'll be back, yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna do something ratchet, okay?
Okay.
Talk about high value men.
That's a ratchet topic. That's a ratchet topic to you. Okay.
He wants to
bring out the ratchets. High value men bring out ratchets. Okay?
Oh my goodness. You want to be here when when we talk about alphas.
You know what? I'm gonna keep that in mind.
When y'all talk about, oh man, I got so much data. When y'all keep me in mind, y'all talk about child support, please. God.
You missed that. That was last week.
Really? Jesus.
There will be more of certain types of topics. You'll be back.
Yes, girls. Yes, ladies. Kayla and Kay.
You should come back the 28th. Allegedly, Mara Lee and allegedly Calvin are coming that day. Allegedly.
Really?
Allegedly.
Let's make it a whole nother jokes and notes flashback situation.
Let's make it a slumber party. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm with you. I watch all the time. I watch you guys show all the time. I know about I support.
We appreciate that very, very much.
So
thank you.
I definitely support the movement. Go ahead and keep it going, girls.
You got your new camera, so we'll be.
I'm lit now. It's like I
can't
turn back. Like, I'm lit. I'm
right.
not taking it back, so I might as well be on live tomorrow doing something. Let's go.
Absolutely.
Well, shout out to Self. We also want to shout out to our super chats. Just Right Music. Big shout out to them. Where are other super chats? I don't know.
Like, how do you put them all in one spot? There were a few.
They go places and stuff.
Yeah, they kind of leave, right?
I'm like, where did they go? Where did they go? Well, shout out to the rest of the super chats. We appreciate you guys so much. Again, thank you, Self, for being here.
Absolutely.
And every week we try to really touch on some different things, but ultimately to have discussions that overall benefit us, our communities, so that we can see more of what we deserve, really. So yeah.
Talk about Black people trying to make celebrities out of their children.
Okay, you know what? You with the topics. You're gonna have to come to the production meeting when we yeah. You're gonna have to come to that because you got the topics.
I'm about to start a little group chat with us three.
Start a group chat right now. Start a group chat.
Topics for days, girls.
Yeah.
Okay. Final thoughts.
Oh yeah. Also, shout out to our sponsor, Tiege Hanley. Great skincare for men. So shout out to them as well. And do not forget, we will be having our very first live show in Houston, Texas, April 23rd. We hope to see you guys there. It is going to be super lit, all the fun. There's going to be some different games, some different things going on. And then, of course, we're going to have a Let's Talk live. So it's going to be really fun. Tickets are on sale now. There are a limited amount of tickets. So get them now because there is a capacity. Well, thank you guys again.
Raise the
we'll
roof.
see you. I know, raise the roof.
Well, y'all, when the last time you raised the roof?
That's not something people do anymore.
When is the last time? More than a decade ago.
You ain't raised the roof in about a decade, ain't you?
No.
A decade.
It's been 2 decades since you raised the roof.
No, I raised the roof just yesterday.
There you go.
I didn't, I might raise the roof later, like maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure, but
we will raise the roof after the live show in Houston as well. There will be an official after party.
I'm like, you know what?
So we will.
When's the last time you raised the roof?
Raise the roof.
Right? Is this correct? Is this correct? Okay. All right. Well, I got it.
All
right. We love you guys.
Lay your hands flat.
So
flat as you raise the roof.
I cannot with this tutorial. Oh.
You know what? You put it on YouTube and we will check it out. Everyone can check out Self Raise the Roof on YouTube.
Tutorial.
Right? But y'all will have to check us next week right here on the Lapeef Network. We love you guys.
It was fat. Lapeef All Day Network.
Right now, Big Self. I'm about to message you right now.
It's too early.
Oh my goodness. Please.
It's too early for you. It's always too early.
It's too early.
Oh no.
Yep.
Your butt to sleep.
Safe. Let's get ready to rumble.
Wow, JR. Wow. Selfie.
That was B selfie.
Too early. I can't believe it's time to get up already, but that's okay. A man's morning routine is everything. The first thing I do is I head to the washroom. My focus, brushing my teeth, my beard, and my skin. Tej Hanley, uncomplicated skincare for men, has changed my life. The face wash, the scrub, the super serum, the eye cream, the AM PM moisturizer has people giving me compliments left and right about my skin. At the beginning of each week, twice a week, I massage the scrub into my face and then I rinse. Every other day, I use the face wash. I put it into the palm of my hands and I spread it evenly across my entire face and my head. The Tej face wash keeps the pores clean and also removes all oil. My favorite part about Tej Hanley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really make the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin easy. And because Tej Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click the first link in the description, and not only will you get Tej Hanley for the best possible price, but they also give you a free gift with your first box. Click that link and get started today for just $30. It's too early, but that's okay. My gym workout was phenomenal. Before I went home, I decided to stop over at my mother's house. I haven't seen my mother in 2 months. I know she's going to be very surprised to see me. I can't wait. What the? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The first thing I noticed was this person's skin. What is going on? Uncomplicated, untreated skin? Who is this guy? I had to take a step back, but then I realized it was my brother. But look at his skin. Have you guys ever seen anything like that? I had to take a closer look and figure out what was going on. Best believe I crept up on him. Peep this. I'm still looking at his skin trying to figure out how did we get here. I could do nothing but shake my head. He could definitely use my help. I had to get to the bottom of this. He definitely needed some game about his skin. I'm just staring at it like looking at it. Come on, bro. I knew what to do. I had to reach in my bag and get that Tiege Hanley. Uncomplicated skincare for men. Bro, this is why I'm excited to have Tiege Hanley as the sponsor of today's video. They have helped me start and maintain my skincare routine by making the entire process uncomplicated. Honestly, it's the best skincare system for guys like you and me. I recommend you start with their level 1 system, which comes with all the basics. A daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and the grime on your skin, a 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells, an AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun, and a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. My brother was so excited. My favorite part about Tiege Hanley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really make the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin easy. Shout out to Tiege Hanley. And because Tiege Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click the first link in the description, and not only will you get Tiege Hanley for the best possible price, but they'll also give you a free gift with your first box. Click that link and get started today for just $30. Feel the Tiege. Let the Tiege force be with you. Make sure y'all go ahead and cop that Tiege. Feel the Tiege, y'all. Hit that like button on your way out. Appreciate y'all. King Talk tomorrow, y'all. King Talk tomorrow. Hey, y'all, we got King Talk tomorrow. King Talk is tomorrow. It's 8 o'clock Central. 8 o'clock Central time tomorrow. We're going to be talking about real estate, man. Real estate tomorrow on King Talk. So make sure y'all tune in. Subscribe to the channel. You don't want to miss this episode. It's all about leveling up tomorrow. So make sure you guys tune in to King Talk tomorrow. We will be discussing real estate and investing. So let's go. It's the last track, by the way, man. Y'all enjoy y'all evening, man. Thank you. See y'all April 23rd in Houston. We are live, man. It's going to be an epic show. Make sure y'all get y'all tickets. That link is pinned to the top. Appreciate y'all, man. Hit that like button on your way out. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. I see you, members. Shout out to all the members. I see y'all. I see y'all. Just set that green signal for y'all. Appreciate the members. I see you, Teddy 504. Appreciate you. See you, Sherelle. Appreciate you. Just Right Music. See ya. See you, Scam Life. Appreciate you, remember? Antonio, I say you. Appreciate you, remember? All right, y'all. We out. Remember, King Talk is tomorrow. King Talk tomorrow. We talking about real estate, y'all. Tune in. Tap in.